This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 814 for the week of Monday, April 22nd, 2024. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And we'll have our other hosts here a little later, Alex and Steve. But we have our very special guest translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump and Manga Plus, Stephen Paul, is with us. How's it going?
One Piece is back, so it's going good.
Fine. So you weren't doing well for the month that was off?
Yeah,
it
was.
Yeah, nothing to do, I assume. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And
we have storyboard artist, comic book writer and artist, so on and so forth. We have KC Green joining us, also on Skulltenders. I would not forget.
Yes.
Welcome.
I only storyboarded one thing. Cartoonist probably covers pretty much all I do.
Okay.
But thank you.
Yeah, I think that counts, though. When you do something once professionally, you were that thing, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, that makes my list a lot longer. I've dipped my toe into a few industries.
I'll let you list it out. No, you're fine. Cohen Edenfield is with us. How's it going?
Hey, it's going all right. I am primarily a game writer, though I've done a little bit of very small little bit of comics. And I am also the DM of Skulltenders, which is a D&D podcast about ghosts that are sent up from the afterlife to the land of the living to as sort of repo men / parole officers for undead and necromancers and stuff. And KC plays an owl with human legs named DooDoo the Owl. You do.
Wow.
Yeah, every couple of weeks if we remember. But it comes out every other Wednesday. Give it a listen if you feel like it.
Awesome. I'm sure many of our fans would love to hear from DooDoo. So when we have new guests on, we like to ask them how they got into One Piece and why, and how they are still keeping up with it. So Cohen, I'll start with you. What's your One Piece origin story?
All right. So probably like not a zero amount of people in my generation. My very first exposure was there once was a man named Gold Roger. You know, that's the four kids. Having that on, seeing that on Cartoon Network like 9:30. It's like, oh, this rules. What is it? Oh wow, this sounds. So I feel like this is. There's something really good under this. It was like really old DBZ when it was all filler.
Yeah.
It was like all filler, all the old voices. I was like, God, I would really like to give this a shot one day. And then a few years later, I'm on Scanlation sites. It's like 2008-ish. I remember because it was when Subodhi was happening in the actual manga. That's when I started, and it was...
Me too. That's when I...
Rock on.
This is also when the official volume releases were still in Alabasta, I think.
Yeah. I got a little bit ahead of that. That's okay to say, right? It's been like 7
It's 2008.
I'm getting my snipers into place.
The statute of limitations may have run out. I don't know.
Yeah. Well. So I was reading it back when it was like you'd be like, you get a run of like 100 or 200 good chapters, good translations, then all of a sudden it hit like the font would change, and it would be those big watermarks, and it would be like, oh no, why does Luffy have a British accent now? why is he called? Why'd they change how they pronounce Zoro? Hold on, I thought they were on a crew. Who's Nakama? I don't know this guy.
Wow, you really are our generation. This is very, it's a little too real.
But then I just kept up with it, just week after, and then as soon as I made it. I got on the Shonen Jump app. I pay my $2-3 a month. They drop into my phone along with everything else. I got like. There was a valiant attempt at one point. I think I have like 24 or 25 volumes. It stops wherever. I stopped buying them around Water 7. As I was like, I'm gonna own all of One Piece, and then I found out about the app, and I was like, all right, I guess these are going to be great when the power goes out in the future. But
I did that with a few other series. Yeah,
I got Delicious in Dungeon. I was big fan. But I've never really gotten that into the anime. I'm a little bit of a pacing purist, and it's it's just not for me. It's fine. I'm so dialed into the chapters that it just feels slow. But I really loved the live action. Big fan. Seen it a couple of times. So that's me. And yeah, no, Casey, I'll let you tell that part.
Casey, what's your origin story?
Can we cuss on this show?
Yeah, please, as much as possible.
All right. So I also remember the Four Kids show. And at that point, anime was already kind of like made its known, like ground. Like I cut my teeth with Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Pokemon, etc. One Piece was on Fox Kids at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It might have jumped over to the Cartoon Network, but Fox Kids I wasn't really paying attention to. I was a Kids WB kid. But I also was just like, this, whatever, I don't care. I don't know. It passed me by. It completely did, and it kept coming out, and I completely let it pass me by as I kind of gained knowledge through cultural osmosis. And then something happened in 2020 where we didn't do anything for a while. and I was bored and missing friends. So we all started getting on a Discord call. And Cohen's a part of that Discord call, and it became a kind of book club that we all were just like, hey, did you know the Shonen Jump app is like $2 a month and also has all of Dragon Ball? And so like we jumped on that, and Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, I read it all on that. We all talked about it, me, Cohen, and the friends. And then we kept sort of daring each other. What do we do with something else, like One Piece? Yeah, right. This is in the middle of Wano, also when when this was happening, I believe, right near the end.
Yeah, it was right around there because I remember because my eyes started glowing as soon as the possibility that I was going to have you guys to talk about it with it every week as it came out. I was finally.
I know that.
At this
feeling.
point, you had still caught up with it.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we had me and our friends Tom and John have also read bits of it, but never. It was tough to get the discipline to read the whole thing. So Tom came up with an idea and a fucking spreadsheet about like, well, if we just did like a couple chapters a week,
a couple chapters a day, just 2. That's all I'm at. That's all they're asking for you. And if we keep with it, we should be caught up in about a year and a half, right when Wano was finishing up. Right when Gear 5 happened and all that shit. And I just said, all right. And here we are today. Yeah.
And we did it. We freaking did it.
Congrats.
We caught up to the end of Wano right during the Nika stuff, which was excellent. I didn't have the ups and downs of like waiting yet. I get it now. I understand now. Like we're in the middle of Egghead, and they had that fucking backstory with Kuma, which was nice, but at the same time, like I said in the Discord, I was like, fuck, we've been on Egghead for a year. The anime's on Egghead now.
This is how it is. Let me tell you
exactly.
Dressrosa lasted 5,000 years. I wake up and I still think he's fighting Doflamingo.
Same.
Birdcage.
So
it's like Cohen is reading my mind and my journal about One Piece, which I guess is this podcast. But yeah, go ahead, Casey.
No, we just we had at some point it clicked. It really did. Like, and I know you've said that before, Cohen, and that's a fuck thing to say to someone. About 400 chapters in, it's gonna click.
Yeah. Well, what I said,
but it really did. It really did. Like at some point, I was just like, "Oh, he's back. Oh, they're back. Oh, that back."
There's that build. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
build happened, and now, like I said, I'm caught up. I just read the newest chapter.
There are two walls you got to break through as a One Piece fan, because early on it's great. Early on you got a new character every 5 or 6 chapters. They're throwing Usopp at you. They're throwing Sanji, Zoro, Nami. Oh shit, it's Chopper. It's great. This will be like this forever. And then you get to Alabasta, and it's great, but it's the tone really changes, and all of a sudden it's like a long time without like a new crewmate or a new. It's like, oh, okay, well we're in the Grand Line. This is cool though. And then you get through Alabasta, and it's like, oh, wow, that was really long. Hey, what's that over there? It's Skypiea. We're just in the same
Skypiea
plot.
was the one you said and other people said. It was like, this kind of the wall and shit like that.
It feels so detached, too, because it's literally in the goddamn sky. It feels like none of this is, everything has they introduce a bunch of new concepts that have not even the names that they're going to have later. It's like, ooh, he's got mantra, and you don't really have any context for what that is or why it's cool. It just seems like a bullshit.
Hockey?
Yeah. Later, it's like, oh, Luffy can do this. This rules. But at the time, it's like, oh, come on.
Skypiea, I think, is definitely something in retrospect shines in a way that it doesn't. I mean, Steven, I could hear him leaping over the table with those snipers.
Yeah, that's my favorite. So
yeah,
I think Skypiea has a good peak in the whole thing that really changes everything, and it's definitely Inaru's fucking face realizing that rubber does not conduct electricity.
Yes.
Something reading this and are just waiting for that to happen. And then it does, and it's a pretty good payoff.
I'm wondering, go ahead.
Well, look, both Alabasta and Skypiea are also very intentional from a structural perspective. They are very intentionally narratively, okay, we are expanding the world out. With Alabasta, you get, okay, problems are not going to be contained to one island anymore. It's not going to be, well, I'm just going to punch this strong guy and then we move on. You know, like Crocodile has political power that is not something that you can just knock him on his ass. He's got, well, the people like him.
Yeah.
Every other person we've dealt with like this had the people didn't like. And it's like, oh no, sometimes your enemies are going to be popular and they're going to be connected and they're going to be smart. And then Skypiea.
But Luffy doesn't care about that.
He
just gets
doesn't
lost.
care at all.
He just gets like he sees something else and now he's stuck doing this. Or Zoro gets lost.
Yeah. But then then Skypiea is so much about, it's like, ooh, there's this history, but you might not have the context yet. And if you're on that shonen brained, I'm churning through hundreds of chapters and I want for fights. It can I wouldn't say drag, but it is an intentional pace slower that can be hard, that you can get caught up on if you're just reading as much as you want for weeks. Anyway,
I think on a weekly basis. I mean, Steven, you caught up during Skypiea, right? It was on a weekly basis. And
and that was it's like it has a great pace, I think, and then like right when you think it's going to be the climax is when they do the flashback, and then it's like, oh, okay, actually this has longer to go than I realized. And
it's always a rug pull.
It's the thing Casey. It's the thing Casey just did. Yeah, it's
the first arc, once you go week to week, is always the longest thing you will ever read. Because
I feel sorry for anyone who caught up during Dressrosa. Really,
a lot of people did, because it went on forever, and much like Cohen, I dream about it and then wake up in the birdcage. It's not fun, but that's also why I'll say Alabasta and Skypiea, I think similarly, are kind of this like litmus test for people, like if they'll enjoy it and how they've enjoyed it, because a lot of people love Dressrosa, and I think a lot of those people marathon through it, in one read because it was over already. And when it's consumed all in one shot, it's much more enjoyable than it was for us at the time. Casey, sorry, go ahead. I was gonna, go ahead.
I apologize.
No.
I'm just saying, it really does, like, it's weird because, like, you'd think I'd be able to, one would be able to read quicker, and I do. I also prefer the manga over the anime because I read quicker. But I remember being so enraptured with something like Berserk, the manga. Mm-hmm. I would read 2 volumes a night to catch up to that. Because I was just like, holy shit. It's a lot of 2-page spreads in action, sure. Mm-hmm. But it's still pretty great. Yeah. For One Piece, I found myself trying to do that sprint and not realizing, I need to pace myself. And that really helped a lot. And I find myself still doing that these days. I don't have that voraciousness as I did with Berserk. I mean,
yeah.
How can you replicate that?
I've been doing my first read through of Dragon Ball. I mean, I grew up with the anime, but I just had never. I'm doing what you guys did, And also their accents do kind of change when it goes from the Viz Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, and suddenly everyone has a... Anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, it goes so fast because everything's so intentional and minimalist compared to One Piece. One page, as you're going to probably find out, could take you 20 minutes to dissect every little thing that's happening. It's not... And I'm a big fan of Urasawa, and that I could consume in a day. I could consume 2 of his volumes because they're so engrossing and quick. But yeah, One Piece is not that.
It didn't start off that way, though.
No, it didn't.
Like those are like it's been this gradual transition from Nancy to Prince Valiant, where it's like we used to have like one simple image on the page, one line of dialogue. I'm gonna hit you.
It's that
Of
Simpsons.
course I'll help you. Yeah.
It's that Simpsons joke about Fox turning into hardcore pornography so slowly you don't even realize, and that's kind of. I think that's kind of One Piece with.
Yeah, he's definitely a maximalist.
He is now a maximalist. Yeah. I think Oda knows what he is and is embracing it.
Yeah, no, like that's what I've always enjoyed. That's what I've really enjoyed about One Piece and a lot of manga in a similar vein, i.e., Dragon Ball. R.I.P. Toriyama.
Yeah.
Is that you can tell when they're enjoying themselves, the artist. And I know they have a lot of assistants, but it's still very much Oda's sensibilities, his jokes, his faults, his everything.
And also, he draws all the people, and he like anything, right? Like anything that's alive is him.
You can also tell when he's not really enjoying himself, which is not often, but
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I felt that in Dragon Ball Z during the Frieza arc in the manga. I was like, this is just numbers. This is just numbers going up and down, and this sucks. And I could tell he doesn't like this either.
Yeah. I think he found himself again later on.
He did.
I mean, we talked about Toriyama a bit when all that happened a month ago. But yeah, I think Oda has gone through similar evolutions. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just have something I want to throw down. This is something I realized because I just did, as when Toriyama passed, I started a reread, and I recently finished from Start a Ball all the way to into Super. What's in the manga? And I think that Majin Buu is very intentionally a return to something that had been lost in the space. It like the Cell Saga is great, but it is also pretty grim.
Yeah,
like it's like we got to get son, I know. You just need a really traumatic catalyst, and then you'll be strong enough.
That's why teenagers love it. That's why I loved it as a teenager. Yeah. It's like, dark.
But Majin Buu, when he shows up, the way that like Deborah and everybody reacts to him is how people used to react to Kid Goku. It's like, he can't be strong. He's silly and dumb looking, and he's not taking it seriously. There's no way this guy is going to knock my hat off, like doing the big...
And we know from One Piece and Toriyama, what's stronger than like the strongest strongman in your comic? A gag character.
Yep. Yeah. I think they did, wasn't there that Super episode where
Arale appeared and
go to Raleigh-chan,
It's too bad they turned Kid Buu into a more serious, sinister villain. I really enjoyed the beginning of the Buu saga. Rest of it, not as much.
Yeah, I'm very curious. As I said, I've watched DBZ more times than I'd like to admit, but I've never read it, and it has been really eye-opening, and he is... I mean, the early stuff, while the humor doesn't hold up, it's all so different than I think how I consumed it in the 90s and early 2000s.
The structure of the story is amazing. It's just the 1, 2, 3. You go to you build to the tournament, build to the tournament, build to the tournament, and like boom, boom, perfect 3-act. Like, mwah.
I just got to the first bigger time skip where he actually grows with the Piccolo stuff. I just finished that recently, and it's all amazing, but I do miss Kid Goku, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I get the appeal with that, and more importantly, I miss Kid Krillin, because I love that.
He had a lot more, a lot more personality.
He did. As a kid. He was such a little shithead. I don't know how else to put that.
But it's so fun. It's fun because
a Buddhist one. But
that mischievousness is definitely in Toriyama, and Goku is so pure that you kind of need they're always just like hanging like a shitty guy on him. It's like, okay, well, here's Oolong, And when Oolong kind of gets priced out, it's like, okay, well, here's Krillin. And now it's just Beerus.
That's true. But to bring it back around, I think that is why Mayumi Tanaka is great at playing the shithead, or I should say the gag character, the real, Luffy and all that. One Piece questions though. So this you could go in any order you want. I'm just gonna ask 5 questions. They all have one right answer. You could figure it out. Who is your favorite Straw Hat? Casey, you want to start it off, I guess.
The Merry-Go.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, the
I don't know
dead
if we've ever had anyone say that one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I had to choose an actual pirate, that would be Nico Robin.
That's a good choice. Is Mary not a pirate?
Well, what was that? Was Mary the one that had that weird like imp spirit heal itself?
Yes.
Skypea. I count that.
Otis said
the Merry-Go.
Otis said that a member of the crew was going to die, and then the ship died.
And then it was the ship. He did before.
Yeah.
And then like 2 years later that happened, and everyone's like, "Are you fucking serious?" And we're crying, and everyone's
counts.
crying over it. So it's
Yeah.
It counts.
Cohen,
Usopp.
good choice.
Usopp. I love Usopp. I've loved Usopp. I love them all. I love Robin's so funny. Robin's the funniest character, I think.
Yeah.
But Usopp is. It's because he's not physically strong still. We're this far. He's very skilled.
Yeah.
And God, when he fights Luffy, when they fight, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
just, but it's almost like it's harder when you're not strong. It's harder when you're not good, when you have a very highly specialized skill. And I just love him. He's the funniest. I love when he freaks out, the fact that he is still freaking out every time anything happens, he's reacting with the same level as when it was, it's the Black Cat Pirates, or it's how many times are we going to have to deal with Buster calls? He's great.
He's like
Yeah.
the most sensible, and also just like the one that's made me laugh the most.
Yeah.
Like just his trials and tribulations that have helped the crew.
Yeah.
The fact that he never stops being kind of pathetic, even when he's being a hero, is just really admirable. I love him.
Mm-hmm. We had a lot of debates in Dressrosa as to, I'm sure Steven and Ed remember, just like, oh, he didn't grow as a character. And you're right, though, that is kind of one of the charming things, is that he's always really Usopp at his core. He's the guy thrown into these impossible situations with
Still
these
a liar.
superhuman. Yeah. He's just trying to get through. He's doing his thing.
The fact that his lying became just a skill in his arsenal. It's like, it's the lying and that everybody. I love that everybody you meet in One Piece is already like, it's like you meet them as kind of generally a broken version of their ideal self. They have some kind of fatal problem and then Luffy helps them get there, and then they layer on top of that. But it's like Frankie at his core is still somebody who wants to build things and protect people, and like Usopp at his core is a coward who is still going to show up all this time later. Even if he has to, sometimes he has to get his friend Sniper King to help, and I guess so. That's kind of a letdown when it's not Usopp, but I like that guy too.
That's true. It's a nice mask. The next question, Cohen, I'll start with you. Who is your favorite non-Straw Hat?
Ooh, that is.
And I'll say I'm also going to ask about your favorite antagonist. So if you don't want to do both,
I'm
realizing sometimes that
favorite allied non-Straw Hat.
Or favorite of who's someone who's not in. Yeah, it could just be a neutral NPC.
Oh, Watasumi.
Wow.
The pufferfish guy.
Yeah.
Because he's so. I might actually get kind of emotional because he's when he's with the Hody Jones crew, he is very obviously like, oh, this guy's dumb. This guy is hanging out with these stronger guys. He's being manipulated. And then there's this page later where he has his frontispiece chapter arc where he thinks he's helping, he breaks something, and then Jinbei, you see Jinbei start to take him under his wing, and then the next time we see him, he is hanging with Jinbei's crew. He's hanging with all those guys, and Jinbei's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I gotta go," and Wanasumi says, "That's okay. I just like hanging out with everybody," and it just like, like reached in and just like gripped my heart. It's because it's this message of like some people are awful and some people are misled, and that can be those somebody who is being misled can be just as much as a victim as the people who they were harming. And especially, I mean, that's something especially with the Hody Jones arc, which is so much about that, like, if you're just punishing people because you want to, because you have the justifications that you do it. Anyway, that's why I love Wanasumi. Big fan.
Yeah, he really is the Lenny of that arc.
Yes.
You know, the gentle giant sort of.
I've never heard anyone make such a truly honest and impassioned I don't want to say defense,
endorsement
endorsement of Wadatsumi, or really talked about him very much at all. But that is very well said. I've never thought of it like that. KC, who's your favorite?
This is his favorite character who's not a straw hat, but also not an antagonist to the
I mean, you could do either, but yeah.
Okay. He wasn't really an antagonist. Oh, he was an antagonist, but he's just so stupid that I really love the Impel Down chief, the guy who always had diarrhea.
Yes, Magellan.
Magellan. Yeah. Thank you. He was so he didn't give a shit. He was like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Agreed. Yeah.
No one liked him, and he was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But he was a fucking formidable guy too. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He beat Luffy more than once.
He gave him all that poison.
Oh yeah,
poison diarrhea.
Accidentally made Luffy impervious to poison.
Mm-hmm. So
That's
he's a friend.
Yeah. He's not an antagonist. But KC, now we could ask the question: who's your favorite villain, antagonist, however you want to put it?
Buggy.
Yeah, that's everyone's answer.
I wouldn't.
Oh, sorry.
I wouldn't call him an antagonist anymore. But he is like he's made me like next to Usopp. He's had the most funniest like moments with Luffy. Like I think looking back, Impelled Down, the whole prison arc was so funny.
Yeah,
and just like
really
wow,
is.
okay, Luffy's by himself just dealing with all this horseshit, and he's winning. He's releasing all these fucking guys.
That's really what I think people call it, the Michael Scott of villains, and he literally failed upwards in Impel Down. Those are two good choices. Cohen, what about you?
It's got to be Gecko Moria, just because he represents. I mean, he's quite literally a shadow guy, but he represents the dark side of a dream, which is what happens when your dream is broken. What happens when you put your faith in all these people and then they get killed, and then he's this first glimpse we have of what Kaido and the New World is eventually going to be, because it was Kaido who wiped out Gecko's squad. Gecko's
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so there's this, it's the sense of like, okay, I know how to fix this. I just won't care about anyone. I will have a crew that is people who have already died that I've brought back, who are bound to my will, and I'll just vibe. I'm gonna participate, kind of, but I am not. He doesn't put his heart into anything anymore. He doesn't. And he's such a tragic character, because like he's like so many other. Well, it's like what happened. My other, the other answer was going to be Crocodile, but everybody's going to say Crocodile. But like Gecko, because
I was going to say,
tragic. Yeah,
you have the most unique answers that are also really well thought out and genuine. Like you would think if someone said Wadatsumi and Gecko Moria that they were just trying to, but those are good answers. Cohen, what is your favorite? What's the next story arc in One Piece? I think this is the last one, right? Am I missing one? Yeah.
Long Ring Out. No, I'm just kidding. I do think pacing wise, it's really good.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. Long Ring Island. Actually, yes. Yes. As a palate cleanser, pacing wise, it is perfect. I understand that in the anime, it was a place. Yeah, it was like the Snake Way of One Piece, where they're like, okay, we can stretch this a lot. We can put a lot in this.
This format is gold. Yeah.
We'll just do
it wasn't that much
forever.
filler.
Let's do some rollerblading. We'll do what else did they dodgeball? I think.
Was it red light, green light?
Oh, I think that. Well, it was just like Squid Game. Yeah.
Oh, I just also remembered that's the Afro.
Oh yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that when I said it, but I'm sticking with it.
It's a good answer.
Sticking with my choice. It's just it's it's another one of those like sneaky world building chapters where it's like, this is so silly, but it's like, well, actually, there's kind of a lot going on. Don't we mean we meet, God, I've never
Kuzan?
had to. Thank you. Yes.
Or Aokiji, which I often mispronounce.
Kuzan is what I was. Thank you for giving me Kuzan like a life raft. But yes,
that's why I'm here.
So we meet Kuzan, his bicycle. Oh, the bicycle on the ice. It's just a very funny arc. It's like after a couple that are very like pretty intense. The stakes are high. You don't want Chopper to have to go be a bad guy, but in your heart, you don't believe that's going to happen. And it's an example of something that Oda does really, really well, which is he shows you the need for a character before introducing them. Before they meet Nami, they're starving. Before they meet Sanji, they're starving. Before they meet Nanmi, they're getting lost. Before they meet Chopper, Nami gets sick. Before they meet Frank, and this is the one where it's like, God, we really need a carpenter, and it's like, but not just anyone will do. Not just anyone. Again, we need the right guy. And it's like, well, here's 40 different people. It's like, no, none of them are good enough. And you're starting. It's this realization of, it's like, oh, they are actually the Straw Hats are at a place where they are choosing, where it's not. They're not just like, oh yeah, whoever wants to join. Yeah. Oh, you're a liar and a sniper. Yeah, get in here. But we're gonna find the right guy, and then it's like you're primed, and then it's Frankie, of course. And Frankie's great. I love Frankie.
It wasn't Paulie like everyone thought. That's true. He is. He likes a burger. KC, what's your favorite story arc?
Impel Down, I already said.
Okay.
Ooh.
Didn't you hear me?
No, I
God
was
his ass.
No, Impel Down. That's such a weird, just like left field, Luffy on his own. Was that the first Luffy on his own kind of big adventure that he did?
Yeah. I guess Amazon Lily, because that was.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah. I think Impel Down's like the first. Well, he had to put together a new crew.
Yeah, and that was fun, seeing Buggy again and seeing all these other weirdos.
I love that color
that I have to remember. Yeah.
Best panel of all time. Where, hey, you remember my Buggy Ball? No.
Yes. I know that's been memed to death, but that is such an amazing...
Seeing it without the meme knowledge, I was just like, oh, that's an amazing...
It's better even, yeah.
Because of how over the top he usually is.
Yeah.
The fact that he was like, had the wherewithal to be just like...
It hurt.
Just that fucking dead inside.
Yeah.
Is very good.
It might be the funniest thing that I could think of, at least off the top of my head. It is very good.
And it's like such a small panel in the manga, too, when you're reading it. And I'm just like, that cracked me up the most.
He is, considering how busy Oda's stuff is, he's very good at hiding jokes like that. I think there was one recently. I can't remember, though.
That's one where even though it's very busy, we're not ping-ponging between. We're not doing the thing where we're going to start off with 10 different characters doing 10 different things, and we're going to go back and forth between them. And as each one resolves their thing, you spend more and more time with each one. It's a great format.
Yes,
basically invented it. But it's Impel Down. Yeah, Casey's right. It cooks because it doesn't. You're just with Luffy the whole time. You're either with seeing Luffy or seeing people who are frustrated by his success. It's a real winner.
It is. They're all great in that too. I love that whole Impel Down crew. So we got to talk about Egghead soon. Before we do, just a couple housekeeping things. First of all, I don't know if Alex and Steve are on mic, but they're here with us. Alex, no one could see you. He's waving. He's giving me the finger. Steve, are you giving me the finger as well? Two of them.
Two.
He's giving me two fingers. Yeah. One day I'll have respect. Who am I kidding? So you could check out our Patreon at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. For those who came to our live show at the City Winery, I want to give a big thanks. Alex and Ed were there as well. And thank you both
Hope
so
you
much
enjoying
for
your
coming.
mug.
Yeah, your mug and your multiple One Piece volumes. I think we gave away around 100 volumes of One Piece. A lot of them duplicates. Don't worry, Cohen. We would have given you the whole set if we knew that you needed them. Yeah, but we gave away a lot. Actually, a lot of the staff at the City Winery were very into finding those for free. And then the little announcement I'll give is that as of now, I believe, we are set to do another live show on Anime New York City weekend on August 25th at the City Winery again. So I'm very excited for that. And I do want, we talked about 4Kids, so I have to mention Steve and Tara Sands, the voice actress. You do a podcast together. Steve, I don't know, do you want to promote, do you want to do your own promotion?
Sure. What do you want me to say?
So you
go
want me
listen to it? Go listen to the show?
It's called 4Kids Flashback.
Thank you, Ed.
There you go.
It's almost it's kind of like a flashback to 4Kids.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, it's a show I do with Tara, and we're just going back and we're talking with a lot of people that worked at 4Kids and worked on a lot of these shows, and just getting to know a lot of the ins and outs of what happened there and people's experiences, and it's been really fun. Go check it out.
Man, that sounds fascinating. I am absolutely going to check that out.
It's very good. Yeah.
Like, you know, we of course interview like a lot of the voice actors, but I think some of the most fascinating interviews are with the people that work in production, because I'm finding out way more about the reasons why some decisions were made, why some edits were done the way they were, and that's like the real.
That's the gold.
That's the good stuff.
And I mean, you talked to the guy who did the One Piece rap. You talked to Luffy recently. I have to listen to that one, so I mean, you could spoil me if you want. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about what we have going on over the next few weeks at the end of the show. But let's get into the manga.
Let's do it.
This is the manga recap for chapter 1112. Hard aspects. Not the only double entendre we'll probably have this week. I'm just going to preempt it. You can read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out. As we mentioned, for I think it's $2.99 on shonenjump.viz.com or mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. They're free the week they come out. They're legal. You can get them worldwide, and you don't have to deal with bad fonts and such from people. Ed, what's going on the cover page here?
So, Zach, this is Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 3. You can have that parting gift, Yamato, as long as you do something for me. And this is Kinemon sending Yamato on an errand, basically, and giving him a message to deliver, maybe? Or is that money?
It's probably money, I would guess. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Like, they were just giving him some money to be like, all right, go.
Yeah. What's the kanji there, Steven?
That's the parting gift.
It just says parting gift?
Yeah.
This is when you send the kid to the grocery store and say, I give you $20 and I want change.
What's that fucking Netflix show?
Old
enough?
Yeah.
Old enough?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I want to see the Yamato Adventures in Wano, but it's that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Now, here's what I think this is going to be.
With the little backpack and the elementary school outfit from Japan. Yes. Sorry, Alex, please. Sorry.
I think this is a trade quest. I think Yamato is going to take this, this this thing to somebody else. They're like, okay, well, if you can give this to they're going to end up with Biggoron Sword by the end of it.
Yeah. If you give a mouse a cookie.
Yeah,
type shit.
Here, take this egg, and then the egg is going to hatch into a rooster. The rooster will wake up Talon, so he can build the the hotel or whatever the hell. And
I think it's just where he can move his ass out of the way, so you can move on with the plot.
That's what happens.
I like the guy who's like, I want food, but he has food. That's his reward.
Alligator, you have to give him dog food.
So is he happy is Yamato happy about the money or about Kinemon there? I assume the parting gift is
I think
heart-inducing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen Yamato unhappy in a long time, which is really good. I love Yamato so much.
Me too. Yeah, he's great. Good. Let him have all the happiness in the world. As he goes to fetch something from the supermarket alone without parental supervision. Hope it goes okay. Hope he doesn't cry on the way.
What could Kanemo need? Something for his wife, perhaps?
Oh yeah.
Now I just want to narrate an entire episode of that. When you know what? When the cover story's over, we'll do that, and we're gonna call you both, and we'll do that. We'll get started with the chapter as we simmer with that thought. As I'm sure you all recall from 3 weeks ago, the Egghead Island is on fire. And I do mean that literally, not in the way that something is great. And we see random Marines, I assume, mentioning that the Pacifistas Mark III, better than the first two, are neutralized thanks to someone, and that they should continue bombing the island. And I love... Make sure Emperor Straw Hat Luffy doesn't escape. He's Emperor, but you still have to say the Straw Hat part. It just feels like you're being formal and then informal, but whatever. I'm not one to speak. And you see one of the Kumas dead, or at least grievously injured. I should say one of the Pacifistas. Another one, two, maybe. I don't know if they're two different ones or the same one and then zoomed in. And then you see Ethan Baron Vinastro. Thank you, Ed, for the hand knowing that right off the bat. Saying, only 12 years old, and you gave this mere girl enough power to level an entire country. What a foolish rebellion to stage against us. This makes me think it's like, you, Shonen Jump reader who's 12 years old, you too can destroy the oligarchy and or whatever it is.
12-year-old
Kid power.
Yeah.
It's like the.
Yeah, there are any kids caught up with One Piece right now who are like, this whips.
they just hop in where it is. That's
Yeah.
what they print. That's what they print those things, right? That are like, here's a condensed thing that'll catch you up. They used to put those out, right? Because it was like impossible otherwise, right? Here's. I remember some of the SBS questions are like, when did Zoro join the crew? Like the idea of sending a letter to ask that is really incredibly cute.
When we were in Japan, I think when we talked to people, they like the normies, going about their day, they mostly consume it through the anime because of that, because they have such, long recaps and they tell you where you are, and it's like an easier jumping in point for people who are like casual with it. It's a hard series to be casual with, I think. But anyway, here comes the skeleton Pegasus,
Centaur.
Centaur. Why did I say Pegasus? We'll
Wishful
get through
thinking.
that later.
Yeah,
maybe.
I wish he had wings.
He could probably fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just? I don't want to interrupt, but can we just talk about this design? Is insane.
Yes.
It's I like all of them, but I'm very fondest for the sandworm, but the old man whose bottom half is a skeleton horse finally drawing his wooden sword, and just it's Casey, I think when this happened you said it was like, this is like the image you have that you spend like 10 years building up to justify, like you had the idea of like a centaur skeleton, and then it's like the whole comic is just like, okay, now I have to explain where that comes from.
Yeah, a lot of comics can be made that way. I've certainly done it.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're all really cool, but we haven't really gotten an explanation for any of them. So, just
because the fact that he's still in control, cognizant enough with himself is like that's trouble. That's trouble down the line.
Agreed. Yeah, it is a very funny it's that One Piece thing of funny and ominous simultaneously. That design. And we have Oima and Kashi. I forget which is which. Alex, maybe you could help here.
Oima's the one with the upturned nose. I believe.
It's the second one.
Yeah.
So you have Kashi, serial connoisseur, saying, let's get back to the ship. And Oimo saying that there are deadly foes on this island, indeed, including a skeleton old elderly man. And the bombardment continues as everyone tells, some random people say to sink the Elbaf ship, and I'm sure that'll go great, but let's find out. Casey, what happens next?
Well, we don't see what happens to the Elbaf ship. Instead, we go back to Frankie and them stopping. I don't know who are these. Just like other Cypher Pole agents? Is that who they are?
So this is a
Those are
vice
Vice
admiral.
Admirals. Yeah. What's his name again?
okay.
It's
This
Red
guy
King.
is
Red
Red
King.
King. Yeah.
Red
who
King.
is
Okay.
named he's named directly after a tokusatsu monster guy who
From
has
Ultraman.
yeah.
I am definitely more of a visual rememberer than the name rememberer. Excuse me, but I also recognize that his ass just got handed to him by Frankie, which is like, Frankie's fun, but he's always been kind of a comedic weirdo pervert sidekick, But now he's like, hey, by the way, I have a huge right, steam strong right, which he gives this guy into a very nice. Especially with that other guy's long, weird neck, very, very like a gooey duck. I don't want to say penis, but let's go with gooey duck. Instead.
Yeah.
I think Oda's thinking penis probably. If I know
it's
Oda.
gross. It's gross and funny nonetheless.
But that's what the tokusatsu guy looks like, right? Like, doesn't he look kind of like that?
Yeah, he's got the ridges on his neck. It's like a dinosaur looking thing.
What is going on with his mouth in that panel when the impact?
I just got it. It's his lips. I thought it was his tongue, but it is the top lip. Yeah,
he immediately already has just like huge bruised lips.
Now I
from
see
that
it's
fight. And the fact that he also smacked his hand to bits too. Like Frankie, whatever punch was coming is gone. It got meat fisted like in you remember that old movie Ricky-O, Story of Ricky? It's an old kung fu movie that has a lot of like fun gore where like a guy just punches through another guy's fist. Anyway, nub black is what the man says as he gets hit really hard.
Yeah,
and then we can.
He was trying to do the steam knuckle. That was his move before. He had a steam knuckle, and Frankie cut him off.
Oh, okay. Frankie just got him with the strong right.
He didn't even need his
right.
This guy's he's new to Egghead. Egghead is the first time we're seeing him, right? Like this.
Yes.
Okay.
And the last.
Well,
it's cool though. Our boys
piece,
are jobbing new people. That's a nice feel. It's like, it's a new guy who then loses right away.
He's a vice admiral too.
Yeah.
I mean, Frankie taking out a vice admiral in one punch. I think for the people out there who like keeping the numbers, like in DBZ, they're probably pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about numbers as much as just like ranks, and even then that can change at given moments.
Yeah, it means nothing really.
So we continue on with Jewelry Bonnie and the real Kuma, or the original pacifista Kuma, being taken by the Giants. The Giants are just the Giants and Frankie seem to just be destroying the rest of the vice admirals, including Jewelry Bonnie, who gets in by turning one of them into a fucking child and kicking his shit in, which is very funny. And it ends with one of them saying, "Stop it! This just looks wrong."
That is just Oda talking to the audience there. Like, I know this looks wrong.
That's Vice Admiral Otterman.
That is our
shell.
Well, what's his actual name? He's the one who.
That's Pomsky.
Okay.
Pomsky. The one named after the combination Pomeranian Husky.
That's actually
he's Chin Man, and he's just probably got his skull cracked by that fucking kick Jewelry Bonnie gave him.
Now on the back. Vice admirals don't get their own justice, right?
It's just a justice. It's just
okay, right.
Justice.
They don't get lazy justice or whatever. Okay.
I don't think they say. Do they say lazy justice on like Kuzans?
No. Oh, okay.
No.
And they even has the same kind of face that the other vice admiral did with his chin all like hit real back and his like lips already huge and bruised in a similar way. But those are pretty hard hits from a couple people who haven't been doing a lot. Well, Jewelry Bonnie's been doing a lot. Frankie's just been chilling.
Guillotine in the back is only there to make commentary directly to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ed.
Okay. Back in the Labo phase, we are hearing more of the recording from Stella, and Shaka says, "Can't help but notice you're not drinking your Vega coffee. It's very hot. I have a very sensitive tongue." And is this Prometheus?
Right, that is
Pythagoras.
Prometheus.
It is
Pythagoras. Oh my God!
Pythagoras.
Oh, Prometheus and Bob. Yeah. I also was.
Oh, now you're speaking our language.
Yeah.
You just Winter Soldier activated me.
He says that's mean.
Just came back to me when he said that. Sorry, go ahead.
4 more minutes, Stella. And he takes a sip of the coffee and screams in pain. And Marcus Marsbird and York are there in the room where it was recorded. It's clearly the same room. And York says they must have recorded the message here. But, and then all of a sudden there's just a explosion blast out of the lab phase there. And, York has to sort of talk the giant flying bird demon ruler of the world down. It's just, don't just go crazy. We're hearing more of it. Stella, there's not much time left. See, the message is still going, and just more of the how to make coffee going on in the background. But Marcus,
you're not going to read that? That's the part I'm interested in.
Why not? Is that Stella?
That's Shaka.
It's Shaka, yeah.
Yeah. He's specifically, he is suggesting to convert the heat into cooling, so to like reverse it.
Oh, to cool it down. Instead of putting an ice cube in it.
Yeah. Right.
And I guess, Marcus Mars continues. If I were the Stella, I would hide the transmission transponder snail emitting the message somewhere. I will simply destroy the entire lab. I love how they can't fit his face in this panel.
He's too long.
Yeah, exactly. You get to see only enough. You get to see his eye. His eye takes up the entire.
I love his design. I think this might be my favorite of them.
He's insane. He is my favorite.
He's so creepy and so funny simultaneously. It's very.
I wanted
good.
to mention how funny the framing is on the previous page when they're just watching the screen and where's my Mystery Science Theater 3000? Silhouette of that. Yeah.
Okay, it's this whole bit where Vegapunk started recording and then decided, that's 10 minutes, then making the coffee while everyone is frustrated.
Very funny.
It's amazing.
No time to edit this.
Long time.
Yeah.
No, it's
this whole video playing the last couple chapters have been hilarious.
It was recorded however long ago.
Right.
It's completely unnecessary to be working it out on camera.
It's a finger to the fans, and I love it. It's great. It's amazing. I've loved this whole thing. Yeah. Ed, I think
so.
Right?
Yeah, Marcus Mars proposes destroying the entire lab, and New York says, "No, you can't do that. The second floor of Building B is for weapons development. The first floor is the power plant. Third floor of Building C has our entire supply of pressurized gas cylinders. If you destroy any one of them, we got to put them somewhere. And it'll set off a chain reaction throughout the lab that blows up Punk Records itself.
This is, I think,
and this is Marcus Mars saying."
Yeah.
And think of where it is. Your neural pathways should be the same as his.
All right, York, isn't most of her neural pathways devoted to eating and shitting? This is.
I keep forgetting. I'm sure you've already had the talk about Oda's how he draws women.
There's
we've had that discussion.
Third panel on the first of these pages.
There are a couple times that I've flipped through this recent chapter and I'm like, well, who the hell's this? I thought it was that last girl.
I thought it was going to be more of a butt conversation. We've done that too.
I was more distracted by not realizing in the panel with the laser blast that apparently the building to the side is just a PC tower.
Oh,
that's great.
That is great.
That's pretty good.
I didn't realize I gave myself 2 pages here, so if anyone else wants to, you could go. But the one thing I want to say that's left on this page is I think Marcus Mars and York just realized that late night shows are pre-recorded; they don't actually happen at 11:30 at night. That's what happened here. I think.
This doesn't feel like they sent their best. Yeah, to this particular. I do like that panel also when they realize it is the one where you see York in profile. And because you can't see her round face, which is sort of the only thing that distinguishes her from the that and the freckles, which distinguishes her from the stock model. The second she was in profile, I was like, who the hell is that? I don't.
Yeah, she does have that pointy chin like everyone else.
Yeah,
does.
That what she doesn't actually have that. That's probably just Oda, not thinking and just doing his normal thing that they all have.
Do you want me to do this page, Zach?
Stephen. Yeah, go for it.
Because I have to
talk too much. Yeah.
All right. So York continues. I'll stop it, of course. if I add crime upon crime, it'll only make it harder to get along with you folks, where she is referencing the big plan to be a celestial dragon at the end of all of this. So, yeah, she doesn't want to mug up that relationship right at the start here.
And she unlocked the infinite rocket launcher.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a pickup. She walked over it, and now she has the rockets.
Yeah, I'm sure one of the buildings in Egghead is shaped like a game shark.
Meanwhile, Marcus Mars, once again, not in the entire panel. He is noticing something, and he says, "I sense the voice of a small creature." And York says, "In Punk Records? Is it a transponder snail?" And York says, "The transmission transponder snail was just recently completed. You can recognize it by its triangular spiral shell." And she makes a little finger gesture to demonstrate. And Mars says, "Tell me how to get in." And then we get a long shot of the bird rising up, which is pretty ominous because it suggests that yes, there is a way to get in past the laser defense system, which is not good because everybody's up there and doesn't realize that they're in danger now.
Steve, can I ask a question real quick? Can I ask Steven? I don't know really what's on or off the table, but translation-wise, I was just curious about like a voice. Like, are there any that feels like a thing that is like getting condensed down? Or is there some meaning in like the original? Is it just straight voice, or is it? Yeah,
it's voice. So and that does have resonance with some other kind of like we were talking about the mantra, the hockey, this kind of sensing voices of things. So he's picking up some kind of signal.
Oh, for sure. Because we first heard this like way back. The little girl who's sort of like a natural. She has the natural perception hockey, right? The little Skypia girl, and that was like the first of the voices. But I was just curious if there was if it was just straight voice, because I've been wondering that for 15 years, so I thought I might ask.
Oda likes that term, and so it does pop up quite a lot. So yes, now we transition to another slightly generic female design. Not to harp on it too much, but here we are with Stussy.
Oh,
Stussy is cool.
This is the one I forgot about and was just like, well, who the hell's this?
Well, to be fair, she hasn't been in the story in a very long time. We were thinking about it.
Yeah, and I haven't been as I was catching up, we go back to the fucking giraffe, other big nose guy, and I'm like, wait a minute. Then it clicked. And then
his hat grew 3 sizes that day, though.
Yes. So they're in the command center here, and I'm trying to remember. I think were they with York when Mars busted in, because they're talking here. So Stussy is saying, "Well, aren't you lucky? Seems it wasn't interested in you." Referring to the monstrous, the Isumade bird, Mars's monster form, and here we have. In a protective bubble, yes, I will steal the joke. Here he is, Jamirokaku. He's responding, "Bah, speak for yourself. What was that monster?" So already he has shown himself to be not as perceptive as Rob Lucci, who picked it up right away. And Stussy says, "Based on the conversation, one of the 5 elders," as she is beeping and booping on the command console over there. And Kaku says, "Oh, you think so? What a ghastly transformation." And he's kind of trying to taunt her here. He's like, "Oh, they abandoned you, didn't they, Stussy? How sad and ironic after you chose to betray us." And she is confidently, she says, "Sorry, but staying behind was my idea. Someone has to carry out the final job after all."
I like how this arc is sort of portrayed Kaku as kind of a wiener.
He is. Yeah,
and he stole Law's hat. He's completely swagger jacket. Like, he just showed up like all these people don't also know Trafalgar Law and the hat that he wears.
Meanwhile, Jamiroquai is like, Trafalgar Law's hat.
He's got a new stupid
I'm
hat,
not going to stay Jamir quiet about this one.
Right. But speaking of Kaku saying like, "Oh, they abandoned you," I just think the character should be asking the question, "Where's Lucci?"
It does
Where
rhyme
did
with
Lucci go?
Lucci.
Oh, I think Lucci was in a different room, right?
Well, he was fighting Zoro.
Yeah.
Zoro
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah,
They were. I think they were just outside or something. They
Right.
might have been in a different room. Yeah.
Lucci,
they,
the
they must have been
rockin' cat.
close.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kaku should be asking where he is at all times.
Steve.
Lucci's getting the Capra Demon treatment. He's fighting the second in command now.
And we go to the next page. We're on a wide shot of what is this again? Punk Records. With at least the thing that says
Labo-phase.
Punk Records. The Labo phase. Thank you. And someone saying, "Wait, you mean to tell me we're leaving Stussy behind?" The Stussy.
The cool
Hey, she's the
Fucking
clone
hell.
of the mother of the guy who's not Whitebeard. Show some respect.
We love her.
Oh.
She's a vampire.
And I'm sure this is
Sure.
Edison.
I'm sure we all forgot
Not
about
anymore.
that.
No,
Yeah.
wait, are you kidding? She's also
She had a vampire devil fruit.
Yeah,
or
That was
something.
that was her turn.
I forgot.
That was her turn. Yeah. How long ago? That was like 2022, I
It's
think.
like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
No, I think that was more than a year ago. Yeah.
Ah, crap.
She's a vampire, but this time she's on our side.
I
Opposed to
remembered
most
she was a
vampires.
clone, but I forgot she was a vampire. What is this, Spider-Man in the 90s?
She craves plasma.
I assume this is Edison here just saying, "What other option we got? Undoing the barrier is going to happen at the same moment the ship escapes." And we see him here kind of just tuttering around saying, "The only way to lower the frontier dome is at the command room. She volunteered to do it." And yeah, this is still him saying, "If you want to do right by her sacrifice, you better make sure the escape's a success, eh?" And Nami fist clenched saying, "Well, of course we're going to do everything we can to escape, but..." Robin chimes in saying, "The problem is the distance that the Vega Force 1 would have flown us." And someone says, "Exactly right, Nico." This is probably Edison saying, "Exactly right, Nico Robin. I've calculated it up, and going by classical mechanics, this ship's guaranteed to land on solid ground now." And they're like, "What?"
Nerd.
What?
That's what they're all saying.
Yeah.
And Usopp walks in saying, "Hey, folks, the coup de burst is all ready to rock. Once Zoro's group is here, we're going to make a super jump out to sea."
Who are
It
you,
looks like we're not-
Frankie? Like all the.
I mean, these were all the weren't these like all the jobs that Usopp used to have to do before
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
actually hired actual
He's Frankie's understudy now.
yeah.
That's
Pretty
right. That's right. He's reliable.
And old
We'll find
reliable
out.
Usopp old reliable Usopp here just says, like, if it looks like we're not going to make it through, that's your cue to help us out. Everybody got that? And Edison laughs. He says, must be hard to be your ship.
And Usopp's eyes go black, and he remembers
Yeah.
Water 7.
PTSD, Usopp, yeah.
Edison says, "But I love the guts you got. Wherever miracles occur, there's power behind them." And that's coming from a scientist. And all of a sudden, he just jumps off the Labo phase. And
What are you doing?
And he says,
I got
I'm making
this.
the-
Just hits the ground and dies.
"I'm making the ultimate sacrifice." Yeah, like Mace Windu.
Or Chaozu.
Wow.
Yeah, this is
that-
very
that's all-
Chaozu.
Yeah, that paid off.
We got to
I'll make
start.
sure-
We got to start getting rid of some of these Vegapunks. We got to start knocking them off.
Yeah.
We knocked most of them off.
We got to thin the herd a little bit.
All
Only
the-
one left.
all the ones in
chance at best.
all the ones in
Honey-
the Vega Coffee video are dead. So there's
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, God, that's
Honey,
right.
do you really need all these Vegapunks?
We got
Don't you-
Vegapunk.
We have Vegapunks at home. Yeah. that's-
Don't you already have a Vegapunk? No, Mom, stupid.
My completely my prediction is that we're actually not gonna get good God, why can I not remember the name of the girl who gets younger? I'm going to sound Jewelry
Oh, Bonnie.
We're
Bonnie.
not going to get Bonnie, but we are instead going to get the evil Vegapunk. as the crew member. That's just completely left. I'm putting it's like 1,000,000 to 1 odds. I'm putting $20 on it. That's all.
You just want to sound really smart if it happens by some crazy chance.
Exactly.
I see.
Hey, we ever get a chance, I got a couple theories that I want to roll by y'all.
Sure.
They're full series theories.
Okay.
Let's save that to the end.
Yeah. Let's finish this first.
I guess.
But yeah, Edison here is making a leap of faith here. He's saying, you'll make sure the ship touches down in the water. He says, trust in me. And then internally says, simulated external damage, 78%. It's like, it won't kill me. Here goes... when someone goes, Edison!
That was my name. I was the one named Edison.
Yeah, he's just saying it like Geronimo.
Yeah,
Bug Zapper.
So why was this done again?
We don't know. He's gonna do something down.
He's
there.
gonna do something related to the Sunny because that's the whole thing they were saying
Right.
that they would just hit the ground.
I felt like I missed something, and I'm like, why is he doing
No, it's not clear.
Yeah, we just haven't been told yet.
Maybe he'll find that giant
no,
robot.
no,
that
it
awoke
says
at the end of
the-
the last chapter.
No, it says the only way to lower the frontier dome is at the command room. Oh no, she did that.
Susie did that.
Okay,
yeah.
I guess I don't know. You're right. Sorry.
I'll
I
make
thought I
sure
knew
your
what it was
ship
about.
touches down in the water. That's
Yeah,
he's doing something
yeah,
difficult. And he's
yeah.
going to do something after it. That's
He's setting up the bounce pad down there. And
Shouldn't Luffy be doing that? Like that's the thing Luffy can do now.
He should just, like,
we've
yeah,
been
he
talking
should
about
just-
giant bounce house for years.
He should just stretch his hand and have way over and have a hand puppet that's just over here also doing extra.
He could totally do that, though.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
could.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that power. Speaking of Cohen, I think it's
Oh
It's
boy,
on you.
yes. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. So I like a complete rude asshole. I came in after this page of Sun and was like, please let me do this one. It's so good. It's so good, so good. So someone in the Navy, like Navy Krillin, we got the Navy Greek chorus is here to say, there's an inward wind pulling us towards the island, and it turns out to be Elder Saint Shepherd Jew Peter.
good. You looked it up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so Elder Saint Shepherd Jupiter, who is, of course, the Five Elder who is in charge of not weapons. I can't remember which.
They're all
thing.
kind of in charge of weapons, I assume. Is he
Yeah, but he
agriculture?
has, I was going to
something.
say transportation.
When in doubt.
He's
Sand.
whatever.
yeah, Spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything nice.
Yeah. So he is.
You could tell Zach has not been to the movies.
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, and then you get you got the big sandworm. I love that it is just called a sandworm, and then came out right around Dune 2. There is not a thing that is called a sandworm that is a giant worm that is not from Dune. That is not some extant
Beetlejuice.
mythological creature that's whatever. It's a sandworm is from Dune.
Yeah, that's more like Swamp Thing is more like a mythical creature.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing. I mean, I guess there's also sandworms in Beetlejuice, but
That's just doing Dune.
Yeah, it's- Dune.
Doing
Uh,
Dune.
And you get the Great Line. You get
It is agriculture, by the way. I needed to find that out.
Oh,
Yeah.
because he's a worm. Earth, agriculture.
I think you're thinking about it too much.
I have respect.
Why would science and defense be like a spider bowl creature? Like
Because they're spinning little science webs.
and Marcus Mars is environment. I don't get. Well, I guess he's flying.
Yeah, he's a
Go
snake
ahead.
bird. Okay, these Quetzalcoatl environment man. Let's see. Yeah, so Dory has the line of the chapter, which is the suction is enormous. And then Luffy says, and then Rogi says, we're not getting anywhere. And Luffy, either from the strain of the suction or from like the effort of having an idea, yells, that's it. And he sees what looks like a rook chess piece, if it was also a spaceship that goes to Namek. And Luffy says, if you're that hungry, and he kicks it over, and there's a absolutely great onomatopoeia, crunk, which was delightful.
Well done, Stephen. Yeah.
Very good. Love that. Have a building, and then he kicks the building.
This is better onomatopoeia.
Right straight and bagrunk. It goes straight down Elder Saint Shepherd Jew Peter Sandworm's mouth, and he kind of accordions around that. And for a second I thought the entire worm body had been like accordion down, but now I see that that is continuing out into the landscape there. I believe that it's sort of going back into the perspective from it's like
back of his mouth is taking the shape of the building.
Yeah. But that's not the back. That's not the back of his. He hasn't completely accorded.
It's like just his head came
Right.
back.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. That's
But
what
this
I
is-
got.
Why does I can't think of what Tom and Jerry gag this is, but this feels like something where Tom was at the end of a table and he yelled and something just like goes right into his mouth.
Is that the Tom and Jerry that guest starred Nancy Reagan? Yeah.
Wow,
Okay,
you
all
were
right, Alex,
you were looking
my
for that.
joke-
one.
I
my
almost
joke
said
was
El-
going to.
I almost said Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm like, that's not the right one.
No,
How
my
dare you
joke was going to
besmirch
be
Eleanor Roosevelt?
that I made a translation mistake. That it's not sandworm. It was your mom.
pretty good.
Damn.
Got him. Got him.
Wow, doing your mom.
I just also wanted to comment.
Doing your
that
mom
this
at the same time. Yeah.
This was the photo on file we have of
The cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the cigarette
I
one.
kept
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about the
Yeah.
This is one of those things that is just like everything that is so great about Nika, about Gear 5 is it's like this is ridiculous, and then you think about it and it's like, oh, they keep coming back when you kill them. This is actually like incapacitating it though and preventing it from doing the thing it does briefly.
Yeah.
This is actually more effective than killing him. It's like that the mirror witch Brûlé, I want to say.
Yeah.
So the thing
Yeah.
she says to Luffy at okay, she's like, you seem like an idiot, but you're actually pretty smart when it comes to battle, huh?
Yeah.
Classic Goku. Classic Luffy, sorry.
Yeah,
Classic.
also,
That too.
Luffy's taunt here is definitely in the cadence of like have a Snickers. That
Yay.
in case it wasn't clear.
Yes,
You're a
it's very
sandworm
good.
when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Have a building.
That's it. I'll kick a building at you. It's bulletproof.
Alex.
So in the background we see Jupiter really having trouble with that building. At some point, probably going to go from suck to blow. While the giants are running away from as you would. They're having a good time. Brogy says, "Gabba baba, that was fun." And Luffy has now had about enough of Gear 5 and reverts to his little old man form and starts wheezing and goes, "But now I'm tired." And the giants aren't used to this little transformation, so
Droopy.
yeah.
He becomes
There-
Droopy. It's
Yeah.
cartoon still, so it's good.
It's so
It
funny.
works.
He's always got to have something for a little bit. He's like
Yeah.
when he used to get small after he do Gear 3. It's just very cute.
Yeah, and Dory says, "What's this? What happened, Straw Hat? You've turned into some strange old man." And Luffy says, "Ran out of food, power." Brogy says, "Need food? How about some hot Carl?" It's not a hot Carl. I actually looked up how to pronounce this. It's Haukartel, which
Wow.
is extremely Icelandic.
Yes.
Or Scandinavian, rather. It's like there's like a silent T in there.
It's one of those things they do on the fjords where they're like, well, what we did is we buried some fish in the ice. We have we have fish and ice. So you're going to love what we've come up with.
This fish lives so deep in the ocean that everything that it eats, like if you ate it, you would die. So we have to put it in the ground and pickle it and ferment it, and then it becomes safe to eat and also disgusting.
Then we can eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
It always
Luffy,
ends with that.
Luffy can pronounce it perfect. Perfect. He just goes, "Ho turtle," and "Blue, what's that smell?" As he takes a huge chomp out of it, and tears are streaming down his face. And I love that there's this this really gross aura about this piece of food that he's biting, sort of reminiscent of when Sanji brought that gross ass lunch to his mom.
Where were they keeping this
stink lines.
fermented shark is also a good question.
In the hat.
Pocket.
Where do you think?
There's no good answer
There's
to
no
that
good
question.
answer. No.
Well, Brogy tells him what how Cartel is, and he says it's fermented shark. Emergency rations from Elbaf. Gah, bah, 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 bah. So I guess he has like a little pouch where he's keeping rations, and he just mentions it tastes good when you're used to it. And this seems to do it for Luffy. He's back to his old self. Goes, I feel energized again though, and he's all buff. And Dory says, the way your body works is so simple. You're back to the old you. And as they're running, there's another elder they forgot about, Warcury, who is just sort of forging his own path through the forest. Dory says, "Look out, boar!" But
I don't know why
Luffy,
that's very funny to me.
Luffy's already 2 steps ahead, goes Gear 3, and gives him a gum red rock right on the old noggin. He hasn't transformed back into Gear 5 yet. So it's kind of interesting.
It's
to
a little
see.
break from all the
refractory
cartoonishness.
period.
Yeah, but we'll see what kind of damage this does on the next page.
The foolishness of turning into a giant boar to fight Luffy is just, it's like, this is literally throwing him in the briar patch. Like, he fought, this is how he trained. This is how he got good both times, is just fighting big monsters. Like when he was a kid, and then
That's true.
The time skip. It's like he was made for this.
His grandpa just made him do that, to be fair, the first time at least.
I
wait.
should mention the sound
That's a
effect
good
was a
point.
big clang. If that's
Yes.
what
Well, we'll find out why,
More about
Steven.
that, yeah.
Now.
Yeah. On the next page, Luffy's he's feeling the vibrations coming back up his arm, and then he just goes, "Yeah!" He just screams, and you can see it's hard to tell how much of this is like, the fire from the red rock,
boar.
and how much
Oh.
of this is just like a demonstration of pain. But he gets that feeling where like you stub your toe on something basically. And he so either he or the Giants are saying, how hard is that thing? So clearly Warcury is a tougher foe. He will need something a little more creative to deal with him. And we end off with an ominous panel of Warcury with his very animalistic looking eyes here. He kind of looks like when Saturn went like real monster like here. So that fight is nowhere near completion. But now we go back to the rear side of the Labo phase, or everybody with the Sunny. And Usopp has his slingshot out, the Black Kabuto. And he's going, stop. What is that? Something's coming. And we can see some monstrous claws pulling on the edge of the platform there. As the
Legit creepy. Yeah.
And Chopper's like, huh, a crab?
No, Chopper, run! Get out of there. You're too young for this.
That doesn't sound good. And then on the northeast shore, we hear Bonnie say, "Oh no, Mr. Giant!" And we can see it's kind of hard to tell because this is getting into small panel scribbly Oda, Mr. Squiggles here, but it looks like
The giant who is carrying Kuma. Yeah.
The one we all like the
Kuma
design
and
for.
Bonnie. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he's got a little gusher of blood coming up from his shoulder, perhaps, and he's going, "Urgh." And on the next panel, he has fallen to the ground. You can see his feet in the background, and then just ultra badass black silhouette of Nusjuro, with his sword all bloodied. And he's all angles, like with his legs, and he's got the sword in the scabbard pointing in opposite directions, and his little flaming the Hagoromo, the demonic version of the sort of holy clouds that surround the five elders, and he's just got the reflection of the glasses as the only kind of highlight on his silhouette. Very, very cool and menacing panel. And in the foreground, we have Atlas, Frankie, and Bonnie all in the fight position. As they say, "Huh? Who's that?"
Yeah, they're squaring up like Castlevania 2. Like,
yeah. And lastly, we jump to Punk Records, the Labo phase. So yeah, in the span of one page here, Mars seems to have gotten past the Straw Hats, and there's a little chick, and there's 1 minute left, Stella, on the video. We're getting to the end of the video finally, as Vegapunk says, "I know," and he takes.
He finally has the coffee, and it doesn't complain about it.
Yeah, and here's Mars. As he says, "Here it is." As he walks up in a darkened environment, walks up to a transponder snail with the SSG, the Super Science Group, on the side, or a Special Science Group, I think it is. As he says, "Fortune was not on your side, Vegapunk." So very feeling very triumphant here, as there is a glub and blub sound effect somewhere off to the side, and our final panel is him kind of looking. It seems like he's looking up, maybe, but he's looking at something and registering it as we hear glub blub in the background.
Might be a tube of some sort, maybe a Seraphim tube or something like that.
A series of tubes. It's the internet.
What could it be?
Yeah, that's the question, which we'll ask all of you, I guess.
Can't believe the giant robot didn't appear in this chapter.
Yes, that is an oversight on Oda's part. That'll do it.
Let's get him.
Yeah, let's do it right now. We're going to Japan. That's the chapter. We're back next week, right? We have another one next week.
Yes.
Thank God.
oh, back to back. Oh, golly.
I like how that's the big thing now. Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
2 in a row.
Next week is the Golden Week special.
Oh, that's
issue,
true.
So,
Yeah.
so we will get a chapter, but there will
The
be
following week.
no Shonen Jump after that.
Yeah.
Dang.
So get ready.
Yep.
I hope we have a good one next week. Anyway, thoughts on this chapter, KC? Let's start with you.
Solid. A lot of good fight and fun. I don't mind when it gets this kind of crazy with just like he's got so many little threads that are weaving in and out, and the last 3 chapters have kind of been that. As long as I'm like caught up enough, it's kind of fun to follow that chaoticness, and there's even a ticking countdown with the video, so it's like, all right, something is going to happen. I'll give him to that. Sometimes he spends a lot of time, Oda does, on this and that, but like he's moving it along. When he said that this was going to be it, like he's going towards the ending, I really felt that. And then he sort of comes in. It comes in waves. Like some chapters are a little like boring, some chapters are just lore dumps or whatever, info dumps, and some are just full of fucking the first time you meet the real Vegapunk. I was elated after chapters and chapters of kind of boring whatever. And when we finally see what Vegapunk looks like and that whole thing, it was just so like, oh my God, Oda's back, folks. And that was like what, a year or so ago.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Goodness.
Yeah, we've been on Egghead a long time.
A fine chapter, solid chapter.
Cohen?
Yeah, I got to agree with KC. It's very much, this is one we're transitioning from. I feel like every One Piece island has like several phases. The first is get there. Oh, it's so overwhelming. Wow, there's so many different things. Oh, but there's hints that something may be bad. We start coming up with reasons to split the party up. They're getting all there. We're taking we're covering as much ground on seeing crazy stuff and just kind of vibing in the new space. And then there's a big problem, and then everybody just kind of gets in the boggle cube and gets shaked around and thrown around, and what are the stakes? But we're getting to the place where we're resolving. It's like I say, it's like I know what the time limit is. I know I have a pretty clear read on. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm having a little trouble following the physics of the ship needs to go here and it needs to not like. I think all they're saying is like they've been trying to carry the ship across the island from like I think it's because the plans keep having to change. It's a little bit. It's like, well, the robot's going to carry it. No, well, okay, we're going to shoot it. Okay, well then we got to do something else, and it's not.
They're above the main island. They're above the main island on the Cloud Island, right?
Right. Okay, I think that's part of why I've been.
It's like a very
last chapter.
The last chapter's diagram was good because it's like a 3-dimensional thing. You have to like kind of that's in his head that he's
it's the opposite of what they did with Fishman Island.
Yeah. God.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But what I like about this chapter is I feel like, especially right at the end, we have a lot of people are squaring up. It's like, okay, we got Luffy is up against the Boar, Usopp. We got the Weakling trio up against. Wait, is Chopper Weakling trio? Yeah, right. Okay, right,
he was at least, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're all stronger now, but they're going up against. It's very appropriate that they're going up against the Five Elder who already lost one time that he's climbing back up. And you got you got Frankie and Jewelry and the Vegapunk who looks like Astro Boy going up against my hero, I've completely abandoned the Worm who used to be my favorite. Now it's the Centaur. Yeah, I feel like we're it's like okay, we're about to hit. I feel like it's a little bit like Zoo. What happened to me with Vegapunk, where it felt like I thought it was going to be like a more of a quick breather, like I guess like I thought it was going to be like a Long Ring Island, and it's like oh no, this sprawls and sprawls and sprawls, and it has a kind of a different energy. Like oh, we are finally to Wano. We're here, and it's like there's an expectation, but when it builds, I guess more fool me for like still not being good at pattern recognition after like 20 years of this, but I love it. I love that we met all 5 elders. Once we had one, it's like okay, and now here are the other 4, and here's what they turn into, and here's their thing. We're not gonna drip feed this out over 5 more chapters. It's just here they all are. Here's their names.
That was surprising. I think I was expecting that to be dripped out for a long time. Yeah.
It felt like one of the things where I was like, oh, like Casey said, oh, you really are lining up to finish this. We are now answering questions faster than we're getting new ones, which is that sort of a tipping point, and that is it keeps in from we're not getting like sort of X-Files like mysteries forever that never get answers. And that's reassuring for the really
we're
long.
along for the ride.
Yeah,
we're along for the ride now. Like I don't know what's happening with the Thousand Sunny or anything like that. I'm actively being like, whatever. I'll see what happens when they do it.
Yeah.
Someone will appear to narrate at the thing when I need to know it. It's and that tension and that frustration and the thing we were talking about that happened with Dressrosa, that can happen with Alabasta. None of that's a mistake. Like it's professional wrestling. It's like God, I wish this bad guy would stop winning so much. Like that's the desire that it is being very well set up. Yeah. And I'm excited. It's fun to see a bunch of people in like, ooh, some of my favorite characters are sort of outnumbered now. What are they going to do? How are they going to solve this with their clever wiles? I'm excited. Edge of my seat.
Yeah. Alex.
Yeah, what a chapter. I mean, Oda really knows how to make a padding out chapter really entertaining, especially when we have new powers, new power users. So I'm going to start from the back half of it. I think that's going to be a big old brain, right? Like the rest of Vegapunk's giant ass brain. Because
why would that make him? Well, I guess Marcus's reaction is indiscernible because his face has one.
Yeah, I don't think those dudes actually emote like properly.
No, I don't.
No, I think it's a big old Mr. Amamo brain. I think
world's strongest brain.
Like the thing with the Vegapunk power, right, is that your brain keeps acquiring more knowledge, and even so, splitting yourself up to 6 satellites, you're still going to be acquiring more knowledge, and that has to go somewhere. So I think the source of all of Vegapunk's knowledge is going to be in a big old brain, because it just
or an
makes
apple.
Sense. I mean, it could be a big old apple, in a tank going glub glub.
Maybe the Stella is also a robot, and the real Vegapunk is just a giant brain living up there in Punk Records.
Or they could all be, or they could just have. He could have a lot of clones of himself. The Glub Blub did remind me of when we see the clones at Germa back in Whole Cake Island, which is an easy thing to forget because it was like it was dropped there and then never picked up again. But that's the last time I could recall seeing stuff in test tubes and like that kind of thing.
There was
the Seraphim
Seraphim
too.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought
Sorry,
the
I
Glub
should've-
Glub initially was coming from the transponder snail, just because it looks kind of like blub, blub.
Yeah,
wondered
that's what I
that,
thought
too.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird cliffhanger to just to end that chapter on.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, like a weird panel. I don't know.
It is a weird
From
panel
this,
too.
This is me coming from a cartooning, comic making exploit. Is like I know he needed to finish this, but that's not that raises more. It does raise a lot of questions, but it's not like a hard end.
Yeah.
I
For
think,
that chapter. But yeah, I know another one's coming, so it's like okay, whatever.
Is that?
I think it's
that's
also for the
bird,
reader.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bird.
guy. Mhm.
So where's
But he fits
what
on a
happens
panel
when York
now.
Go?
York stayed down there because the
Yeah,
bird
she
could
told
fly,
him,
and
right,
yeah,
right.
York's like,
Okay.
go up there. I think it is. I think he had in mind a good cliffhanger, like he thinks he's victorious, he's going to walk in, and then something's going to happen, but it's executed very oddly.
So we don't get to see what that something is until next one.
Well, I think that's what he
a
was trying to
cliffhanger
do.
would be showing us what that something is without actually explaining it.
That's a good
Like,
point,
what
too.
the fuck is that?
It's
Yeah.
the fact that we're having to do the work of there must be something here
Yes,
that we're not
that's the
seeing
issue.
because otherwise this wouldn't be the last panel in the comic.
He's had issues
Oh, yeah.
like that, and me and Cohen have argued about that. Like Luffy's scars, the double scars. It wasn't like
Yeah.
I get that he did that during the big war and stuff like that. What was it called? The East War?
Marineford. Or the
Marineford,
Paramount
thank you.
War. It was
Paramount War is what I was going for. That's like when he got that stuff, but it was all stitched up, and you didn't see that. And then the 2-year time skip happened as he was stitched up, and then you saw his classic scar. And I was like, why didn't they explain how that happened? Like during his 2 years, when did that happen? Why didn't they explain that? Because they didn't show it that was. It just wasn't like visually.
The anime did make that
representation.
really obvious. I remember.
In the manga, I was a little confused, but was like, "Oh, it was that." But I just remember that being a very like sticking moment for me. Like, why didn't they explain that? I mean, it's a cool scar. They didn't explain what happened to Zoro's eye. Who gives a shit?
And I like
That's true.
He lost it.
I cracked,
Yeah, that's
I
what it
cracked
is.
wise on KC a little bit about this. I was like, I don't know, man. It might have something to do with the giant guy who punched him with a lava fist. But I wasn't. I realized like you're perfect. What I was really laughing at was like, oh shit, you're absolutely right. That is kind of a big jump where it's easy to forget. Hey, what were the specific mechanics of him losing, of how Luffy got knocked out there? Because there's a lot going on in that fight that is more immediately memorable than that, particularly, especially he lost his brother.
And look,
Whitebeard.
our friend Tom, well, it was in a similar boat with me of being like there just wasn't a lot of visual like A to B of being like, oh, that's where he got it. And so when he just showed up again 2 years later, stronger, I was like, cool, he must have got that from a big snake or
A
something.
big boar.
Big boar.
Yeah.
Maybe a pig ate it. Who knows?
I think Oda has that problem where he knows what's going on in his head, and he sometimes assumes the reader does too.
I understand that
yeah.
perfectly as a cartoonist, and,
Yeah.
and especially if he's like very excited to be like, "All right, here
And
we
rushing.
go, we're doing the 2-year skip," and
Doing
rushing
it in a
probably,
week.
yeah.
Speaking-
Oh, God bless the man. I hope he takes a forever break after he's done.
Yes, I think he will.
I hope he just retires. I hope he just straight retires.
I think he said he probably would, but on the other hand, he seems like, well, maybe he's not like workaholism, but we'll see. Alex,
Yeah, well, speaking to that point of like of panels and cartooning and whatnot, we talked about this page super briefly in regards to like how it looks like an MST3K piece, but I do love that the timing from like oh, this is clearly the same room, and Yorick starting to talk, and then the next panel is literally Mars blasting a huge hole in it from the outside, and I just think that's just good. yeah, that's just good progression. The other thing I really liked about this chapter was we finally get to see Frankie do something. It's our future island arc. This is supposed to be Frankie's time to shine. He does a couple things, but man, come on, dude.
Yeah, for a guy whose time skip was Vegapunk, it's kind of like if we had gone to like if we had gone to Usopp's the carnivorous plant island,
Yeah.
and like he and Hercules Kuna just like not interacted like at all.
Just terse nods from across the room.
Yeah. Oh well, there he is. Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, he knows what he did.
I also enjoy that Bonnie is still using her power to turn people into babies, and then they punch the baby.
And then she punches the babies.
Yeah, I don't know, just good stuff. We talked at length about the worm spread, which is just fucking chef's kiss, baby. I don't know. Yeah, I did have a theory about this 1 minute left thing. Even if this transmission gets cut, there's got to be a failsafe somewhere. Or I thought it would be really funny if Vegapunk did like a reverse thing where it's playing at a delay, but only here in Punk Hazard. So it's 10 minutes ahead everywhere else in the world.
It's the Ozymandias thing.
I made my coffee
15
10
minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
I've been drinking my
I
coffee this whole time.
yeah.
And then
Like
the readers don't know the secret of the world, but the rest of the world knows it.
Oh, fuck
Oh, please
that.
don't speak that into truth.
Yeah.
And now I know that's what's gonna happen. Oh.
Yeah, Oda's definitely going to do that. That's like
I
just
had that
trolly
thought.
enough.
I did have that thought because I don't know if
This is
Vegapunk
Alex's
knew that
fault.
well, I mean, if let's transmit this thing when all 5 elders are here on the island. That way they'll never
About
know.
coffee. They'll be really
Yeah.
into my discussion on my new coffee maker.
So
Sorry.
yeah. Anyway, that was the big thought that I had this week.
Steven, Paul.
Yeah, it's a solid chapter. I think it's as you guys described it pretty well. That it is. It's a little, especially in the context of some of the stuff we have seen in this arc. I think this is one that you look back on as like, yeah, not too many memorable standout moments in this one. Like there's no crazy. Bass drop moments or shocking reveals or anything like that. This is getting us from point A to point B, or I mean, at this point in the arc, it's more like point S to point T or something like that. But there is a lot of I think the floor on the material is pretty high. Like there's just a lot of fun, entertaining stuff. A lot of action. It's all very quick, but some good interactions, some good little character bits, and kind of moving stuff around. I did want to talk about, so we did not discuss this, but I do want to talk about hard aspects because we did not discuss the chapter title. And it does not come up. Yeah, it does not come up in the chapter itself. So this is a term that is apparently astrological. It is an astrology concept. And I'm not a big astrology guy, so this was all pretty new to me. But so apparently astrology, which of course, you got the zodiac signs to the 12 signs, but it also does apply to the planets. Such as the ones represented by the 5 elders. Of course, we all know when Mercury is in retrograde, that's the bad time. So what happens, one of the things that they do is you have a circle, and then the different planets or heavenly bodies or whatever it is are arranged in the circle. And the aspect is the relation. It is specifically the angle of the relation, the line that connects 2 different signs across the circle. And there are easy aspects and hard aspects. And apparently an easy aspect is like 30 degrees or 60 degrees or 120 degrees, I believe. and a hard aspect is 45 degrees or 90 degrees or 180 degrees. And it's something to do with like the connection between those two, like that sign that, you know, going across at the 45 degree angle or whatever is a hard aspect, and that means that like it's challenging in some way, like whatever it is that you're divining, it's like a headwind. It's, you know, it's something that is going to make it difficult. It can be something apparently that is like if you it promises great change if you overcome it, but generally speaking, it's sort of like, oh, this is a bad outcome. Now, obviously, there's no context, or there's no direct context for this in the chapter itself. It's not mentioned by anyone, so you know, you can only kind of guess at what Oda may have been doing here. My interpretation, just based on what we see happen, is that since he is clearly looking up, you know, concepts related to the planets in general, stuff that might be associated with the five elders, that it kind of represents them all. Like this is kind of a bad chapter for the Straw Hats. Like pretty much all of the, except for the Sandworm, maybe he gets the worst of it, but most of the other elders are kind of holding their own or are advancing. You know, like Nustero's fucking shit up, and Mars apparently is about to shut down the transmission, and Luffy gets his hand hurt, you know, hitting the bore. So it's not looking great, and so I feel like
Nami and Chopper not in a very good position.
We see him right. We see him climb up on the edge, and then the next page we see him in the little transmission chamber. So it's like, okay, what happens to them then? Like, did he beat them? Did he just fly past them? We don't know. So yeah, that's my guess, is that he's probably just kind of referring to the general movement of the elders, that they're giving our guys a hard time. But that's just my total amateur guess.
Are you mixing up Saturn, or am I Saturn with Mars here? Because Saturn's the one climbing up, right? With Usopp, Nami, and Chopper. And Mars is the one who...
Yeah,
because
Mars, that's the spider legs.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you're right.
That's what I was saying. Like, he's now been demoted to, he has to fight those three now. Like, he lost to the
I think
bird.
He's lost a lot of fights.
Okay, I got confused because I thought that was the claws of the bird, and because he's flying up there.
No, he's skittering.
Talons. You thought they were talons. Yeah. I see. Yeah. No, it's much more creepy as spider legs, I'll say.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely
all right.
Yeah,
climbing up sideways.
I stand corrected. Yes,
it's all good.
But yeah, it looks
anything
bad
else,
for
Stephen?
them.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. That's interesting. I wonder if the next week's chapter is going to be the inverse of the astrology. I hope so. Steve, thoughts?
Well, I can't compete with astrology theories.
Why not?
I'll just keep it short, and I'll say it was like a really good chapter. I think maybe it was the hiatus too, but I was very hooked. Like, I did not put it down until I was finished with it. Really ramping up, but yeah, like me covering that Edison page is kind of fitting, because I was kind of confused by the motivations by that, but I'm sure it'll be answered. There's, it's not like it was like Edison said, lol, random, and did that.
Sorry.
Wow, exceeded his goal. Yeah.
Awkward. But other than that, I really, I kind of enjoyed the duo of Marcus Mars and York. Just was it? I don't know, like Pancake Head and Dum Dum. I don't know, what the hell am I thinking of? That's from something.
Rocko's Modern Life.
Rocko's Modern Life. Yeah.
Well, I don't know where I pulled that out of my brain.
I don't know. It's like, I feel like two dummies here, but they're actually super smart. That's why it's
yeah, I can.
Kind of ironic.
Well, also
Other
the
than
idea
that,
of York bickering with a god, basically. Just
this giant bird who can't even fit into, like, on screen.
Right. Lucci is struck completely dumb by him. Like, York is unaffected.
like any other story would be like, you stop firing like your breath blast, you'll blow up the whole place, and they would say something like, oops, sorry.
I think Yurik's smart, but she has a ton of naivete, obviously, with her goal. So I think
she's designed to be a hedonist, and she has a natural selfishness, and I think that's sort of what each of them represent a different sin, right? Are they? Am I just applying that? Like, don't they each have a?
They're not sins.
Are they virtues?
They're random. I don't know what the connection was, Steven. Do you remember? Because there's wisdom. Also, there's like other
genius or something like that.
Evil. There's good and there's evil. There's wisdom. Violence is Atlas, which is the one, the Astro Boyish girl with the tail and the goat ears.
Knowledge and
knowledge was
greed.
Edison, I think, and greed.
I forget. Edison and Pythagoras are kind of interchangeable in my.
Well, one's dead.
Knowledge and wisdom.
Steve.
Other than that, I think it was like a really great cliffhanger to leave off of. I think that last page is really cool with Mr. Centaur. Just shrouded in black. That silhouette is really cool, and then just like the heart skipping a beat when Mars is just approaching the video transponder snail. I believe is the same ones that were in Film Red.
That's correct. Yeah.
So,
and it also said SSG on those, which I now remember. Yeah,
but that transponder snail is making the same face I made when I saw it. Mars walk into the room.
It's like, oh shit, who's behind me?
Uh-oh.
It better not be an elder.
There's one right behind me, isn't there?
I love that his silhouette, the way his both legs come down to that point, evokes his beard, like the things of his beard. Like it's just, it's just. I mean, it's any character design from Oda. It's like, but he's the best in the game. He's the best in the game. I'll say it. Especially now. That was in poor taste. But especially, now that I think the crown has been passed from Toriyama to Oda. I think now it is easy to say that he's the best character designer out there. Except for like all the problems with women. But aside from that massive caveat, he's just it's good.
Ed.
Yes, the thing I came away from this chapter was really the futility of trying to fight the five elders, even at this point. Like, if there's a way to defeat them by, engaging something else other than having to fight them, because as Luffy says, you can't really fight them. So you have to figure out something else. This entire chapter is setting up the fact that the Straw Hats have been fighting. They've been holding their own relatively well. But once they're all sort of being confronted with the elders, positioning themselves, getting between them and their escape, it's just making the situation more dire. And we see that the Straw Hats aren't going to be able to defeat them. Although there is the wild card of the giant robot that was, it started moving around at the end of the last chapter, and he doesn't show up here. So I don't know, maybe Oda's trying to lull us into a false sense of security, and he's going to pop up out of nowhere. But that's a really significant thing. This is an extremely powerful weapon, essentially, this mobile armor, and it could change the game against the elders. Whatever powers them, the unknowable source of power that Vegapunk dreamed of and tried to invent, but could never figure out what power this thing. That's the kind of power that is required to destroy the elders and bring this ancient battle to a close. So that's that's where we're going with I think with the elders. What is it going to take to destroy them or get them out of the way in order for Luffy to become Pirate King and claim the One Piece and do the thing? I think we talked about it earlier. I do like Kaku being a weenie, him having this old man, he's a very young old man, and he's just got a bad attitude. Just overall, I just love to see that, and him getting battered constantly in this arc is definitely been a positive. let's see
Lucci
here.
too.
Other than that, the five elders are just too. They're completely impervious. They're too strong, and something else is going to have to be done to take them out. Oh, and I love Luffy's gag with the. Now that I think about it, the giant robot at the end of the last chapter was moaning about Joy Boy, and now that Luffy has been knocked out of his Gear 5 form, I'm just wondering if.
Oh yeah.
The giant robot's going to show up and just see regular Luffy and go,
Oh,
false alarm, never mind.
yeah.
Or shut down. I mean, it might just not work
Right.
for the time. That's a good point too.
It's an interesting
I'm
thought.
not sure.
But
The less we see of the robot, the more I think Oda has planned for him, because he wants him out of your mind when he, at least on a week-to-week basis. Yeah,
month
I don't have a
basis.
ton. A month. Well, I don't have a ton to say. I think beyond what's been said. I think, except for Kaku's stupid hat and how it got bigger for some reason, it's very irritating. I legitimately do not know how they're going to get out of this one, which I know is the goal, but I don't know how the groups of people who are up against the five elders here. So, like, let's say even Mars is the thing he's looking at is truly overwhelming to him that he can't destroy the recording. Let's say everyone else is still facing up against a five elder, including people who I really don't think could beat a five elder in any regard. So it just makes me truly wonder what's about to happen here. I
haven't seen Zoro or Sanji in a minute. Like,
well, Zoro just finished
Jinbei was carrying Zoro over his shoulder last I saw.
That's right. My mistake.
Was-
I was just
was
thinking, like,
Sanji
speaking
on-
of...
with
That was
the
still like
ship?
2 chapters ago. It was a
Oh no,
little while
Sanji
ago.
was. You're right. Sanji was running with Vegapunk. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so they both have... They're both kind of... I was just saying, like, speaking of...
they're
like,
both en route. Yeah,
I haven't seen them in a while. It's like, yeah, it's because it's been 3 weeks.
it was just. I think they were in the last chapter. Yeah.
Yeah, my
I
mistake.
would have had a character limit on this chapter. You could only fit so many in.
I mean, I think that last page is partially probably because he ran out of time. I wonder if whatever is going to be at the beginning of the next chapter, or whenever we see what he's looking at, it depends. I'll make a judgment on that later. We've been talking about this chapter for a long time, though. For those who want to stick around, we're going to do questions, comments, and theories. For those who don't, I understand, since it's been 2 hours. But thank you all. Let's move on into the next segment.
This is the anime recap for episode 1101. The strongest form of humanity, the Seraphim's powers. I'm your host Sam, and today with me, we have none other than Fruit of the Loom's own Steve Yurko.
Comfy undies.
Yeah, we're gonna grill you later about that cornucopia.
Yeah, that can't be sanitary.
Luffy, and so the episode opens with it's Luffy and the townspeople all kind of reacting to Sentomaru having been slain by Rob Lucci, who did the like 5-finger claw, death claw punch. And we get a little reenactment of the event from Sentomaru's point of view, where, you know, in his mind he's like, you know, like turning back and forth, like trying to stay ahead of Lucci, trying to defend himself with haki. We get this cool shot where like his axe is like coming in on the like top right corner of the screen, and that is where Lucci's reflection shows up as like kind of like the final moment of like, oh, Sentomaru's fucked. And then you know, as we saw last episode, Sentomaru got the claw and is down for most of the episode, if not the whole episode.
Got plenty of dialogue though.
And Luffy and Lucci are going at it. They are fighting. Lucci goes in for the kill to try to finish Sentomaru off because he's just kind of like laying on the ground, bleeding out. And Luffy stops him with a Gum Gum Dawn whip, where like the kick like goes flying, like it goes into Lucci's face, and then in like kind of a freeze frame moment, it like keeps going. It like takes a almost a 90-degree turn. And I can't tell if the leg is supposed to be infused with hockey, or if that's just like the colors going JoJo mode.
I read
slow
that as
motion.
hockey. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the leg is kind of has a mind of its own and is getting a few extra hits in after the first hit, all in the same moment. And while Chopper and Jinbei are running off with Bonnie, Luffy is spinning out of control because he's just he's in cartoon mode, so he's going all over the place, and he's spinning himself dizzy, out of control, and he burrows into the ground like Taz the Tasmanian tiger.
Devil.
The Tasmanian devil.
Yeah. Taz
and
Looney Tunes.
Yes, I know the character. I've seen him around. Elsewhere we have S-Hawk slashing away at some government agents, and there's a cool shot where S-Hawk like slashes some guys, and their blood kind of sprays into the air, and then sort of a transition into like a few feet away in S-Shark's fight. That blood like transitions into green, like it's like the green water droplets from the ground that S-Shark is turning into water. And they're fighting, and Frankie's watching the fight on the monitor with the rest of the crew, and he starts getting really emotional because he realizes like, oh, that's that one guy's powers. That's Senior Pink's. That's my bro's power. But there can't be more than one power. So that must mean that Senior Pink is dead. So he's like sobbing and crying.
He gets very theatrical with like his
staging.
Yeah,
he's we're getting like a little like series of clips from Dressrosa of the Senior Pink fight with like Frankie in like the bottom right corner, like waving his hands like he's doing like a like a theater thing. Then Vegapunk is like, oh yeah, that guy, he's an impel down, don't worry about it. So like Frankie's like, oh well, it's good that he's okay, but does that mean you duplicated his fruit? And so Vegapunk he like doesn't directly answer that question, but like the idea is like they found ways to make zone types artificial, right? With Momonosuke's fruit
and only Zoan fruits.
Only Zoan fruits. And they have a brief conversation about the Caesar Clown's much riskier smile fruits, which have a lot of downsides. And but Vegapunk believes that basically all devil fruits could be replicated with enough time and money, and it seems like the solution for paramecia powers is in like this artificial blood that the Seraphim run on, which is it kind of looks like a green band from a distance on the Seraphim, but like there's actually like a clear tube in their arms where you can like see the green fluid that's like their artificial blood.
All that delicious melon soda.
And so far, Vegapunk has not had any success replicating Logia's. But yeah, he suggests that the Seraphim are perhaps the strongest form of humanity in the world. And that brings us to the eye catch of the episode. With Luffy out of the picture, Lucci is like, okay, time to get back to this killing Sentomaru thing. And he turns into the like Road to El Dorado Jaguar as he's like running at Sentomaru. And Luffy emerges from the ground, having turned into Gigantamax Gengar. With a big, giant, bouncy house face chomping the ground. So he's back in the fight. They exchange blows. Luffy is he's flung. He flings himself, gets flung into like one of the city tubes, and he's like basically reeling back, like he's about to get slingshotted, and then he takes this opportunity to, he like turns like the kind of cloudy part of his hair into goggles, and he puts the goggles down. He's like, all right, I'm in my bomber jet. I'm in my like spaceman spiff cartoon fantasy.
I was just wondering, before I watched this episode, how they were going to do this. Like, how is he going to make those goggles? And it did not disappoint.
Yeah, just like the where the hair meets the magic of the Gear 5 powers. It's just sort of like kind of a amorphous shape that can be whatever. So Luffy gets flung, or he flings himself, and he hits I love he hits Lucci with a Gum Gum Don rocket, and we just get lots of great action shots. Like one of the things in modern like anime sakuga that I am just a sucker for every time is just when there's a the action is moving through like a large space, and you get to see like the camera like spinning around the characters, the 2D animated characters. I just think this is a great.
That sounds like a Jujutsu Kaisen thing.
It's something I like first started really thinking about in like Attack on Titan with like the OMD gear and stuff.
Yeah, and I know what scene you're talking about with the anime this week, but I totally, I know that vibe you're talking about.
So this culminates in the aforementioned Gum Gum Don rocket, and Luffy is like punching, kind of like when Luffy punched Kaido like through the head, and like his Kaido's head just kind of had to like stretch back, and it has like this weirdly, it's both cartoony but also weirdly violent. Luffy's doing that to Lucci's gut, and there's like kind of a fire. It kind of looks like there's the Red Hawk fire going on, and sends Lucci flying, and Lucci in his internal monologue is just like, oh, how powerful is he? I think I'm passing out. And elsewhere, we have S Snake is jumping in to lead Chopper and Jinbei to the infamous vacuum rocket, which they were looking for a few episodes ago and couldn't find because they didn't ask enough questions before they ran off. And Jinbei compliments her. He's like, "Oh, thank you. You're very helpful and kind." And S Snake is like, "Oh, don't be rude. Don't insult me." Even though she was like insulting them for being like slow and stuff 2 seconds ago. So with Lucci out of the fight for the moment, Sentomaru is getting on his feet, and he's making a big emotional plea to Luffy, entrusting the old man to him. And Luffy, he has this big grin. He recognizes the faith that's being put into him. And he's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I got this." And then Luffy, he like double rockets himself, like he Gum rockets himself into one of the tubes again, so he can slingshot the reverse way towards the vacuum rocket.
Yeah, it was really cool. Just like the close up shot of Luffy just like oozing with confidence, and basically running, like bouncing off like these tubes like they were like wrestling ring ropes.
Mm-hmm. And he makes it into the rocket just in time before it takes off with the rest of the crew. But the rest of the crew, like Bonnie is finally waking up, and her reaction is like, "Oh, hey, who's this strange old man in the rocket with us?" And it's just like Luffy sapped of his energy post Gear 5. And, holding the fort, we got Sentomaru back on his feet, having a stare down with CP9 who's showing up. Lucci is back on his feet as well. He's put his suit jacket back on. They're having an intense stare down, but Sentomaru cannot stay awake. He faints unconscious, and Kaku just very disrespectfully just jumps on him to get a better look at the busted up city and look onward to where they're going to continue to track the Straw Hats. To be continued. General thoughts on this episode, Steve?
I really like this episode. The Luffy and Lucci fight unfortunately reaches its conclusion, but the animator still had a lot of fun, some really great sequences like you mentioned before. I just really liked a lot of the Luffy scenes in this because it felt more in the spirit of what I was imagining Gear Fifth to be. I don't want to go around saying like this is what Gear Fifth actually is. Who am I to say? But I was expecting a little more cartoon antics, and I think the animators that they hired for this episode, I think, captured that a lot more than some other episodes. So I just really love the look and feel of this episode. But there might be a bit of animation that's my favorite of the episode, and it was when Jinbei and Chopper like buckle up in this rocket. Chopper is absolutely gleeful as he's buckling in his like seatbelt, and he's super excited. Like he's about to say, like, I've never written on a rocket before, or right before like it launches, and they do like or right before Luffy jumps in. It was such fantastic character animation. I like rewound it a bunch because I just liked looking at it. Chopper looked really cute. A lot of great Chopper animation. I think there was when him and Jinbei were running towards the rocket too, there was another bit of Chopper animation I really liked. Who, I think Chopper's like, he's not the one normally getting some animation that you're seeing posted all over Twitter or something like that. But just seeing that, it was really cute and really endearing, and this episode really stuck with me. So I really loved this episode, and I think it was just overall it was boarded very well. I think there was some great shot compositions. I think even the end of the episode, Lucci looked really imposing and like super cool too. And even like the choice with like the framing device with Frankie like getting very dramatic as he's talking about Senor Pink, I thought was a really unique choice. This was a fun episode.
Yeah, I really like this episode too. Like for me, all of Gear 5 has like a certain balance of like, the Sakuga hype, dude bro excitement stuff, and the goofy cartoon antics that sort of blend into like a fever dream or a weird drug trip. And like, I don't know if this episode stands out as being different than the other ones to me in that regard. I'm kind of with it in whichever direction that it pushes and pulls in a moment. I did kind of find myself feeling like, for as epic as the animation is, we kind of end the fight where we started, where like it's just like the CP9 trekking down the Straw Hats, Sentomaru passing out from his injury. Like Luffy defeats Lucci, but then by the end of the episode, Lucci's just like back on his feet like nothing happened, and it's Lucci and Sentomaru having a stare down, and Sentomaru faints as if nothing had really changed.
Yeah, like Luffy was never there.
Yeah, like I guess in the manga it was a more of a passing fight as opposed to like this several week long epic showdown.
Right.
But I'm not going to complain that a cool episode was cool. So.
And I think I also want to mention that bit of animation by previous guest of the podcast, Vincent Chansard.
Uh-huh.
Very brief little bit of animation, but wow, did it like when Lucci is like momentarily, it looks like he's like a fire leopard or something like that. I just thought that was really neat.
Yeah, like he reminded, like I mentioned earlier, he looked like he reminded me of the big jaguar thing at the end of El Dorado.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so that's when you were, yeah, that's what you remember for that. I don't remember the jaguar from Road to El Dorado, so I'll have to revisit.
Yeah, the big monster they have to run away from at the end, or have the fight, or whatever happened.
That sounds like a good flick.
Wait, have you not seen it?
No, I have. I just haven't seen it in a very long time.
Okay. Well, anything else you'd like to say before we move on to the next segment, Steve?
No, all good. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's move on then. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and dream of skeleton Pegasuses. Pegasi? Ed, what's our first segment?
Well, Zach, that segment is Dis Piece.
Yeah, this is where we take patrons' questions on Discord. Hence the dis of the Dis Piece. What do we have, Alex?
We got a couple. Minotaur says, "Hey OPP, just saw the newest anime episode and it got me thinking about Seraphim Crocodile. Vegapunk said that he had no luck recreating Logia powers at all. So S-Croc probably doesn't have sand powers. S-Shurk and S-Hawk each got an appropriate power, so what do you think S-Crocs could be? Eva wasn't impelled down, so it would be funny if they got their abilities."
What's S-Hawks?
He has the Mr. One's power.
He does?
believe.
Oh yeah, he can make weapons. Yeah,
Oh,
steel.
forgot about that.
I forgot about that too. I mean, I remember the S-Shark one with the Send Your Pink thing.
And at first I was like, how does he have that power? And I'm like, oh yeah, Mr. One was in jail.
I guess you just have a pick from anyone who's in jail, except Luffy, who didn't
or
really.
an impel down, I guess. All that.
Yeah,
And then they take your blood.
there's a lot of possibilities there.
What if he got the chop fruit? What
That-
if he got
I love that.
and then he could like send the hook? He could send the hook.
Well, there might be
That'd
a
be
Buggy
amazing.
Seraphim too, and Buggy was in Impale Down, so that
S clown.
we made the joke at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yes, clown, exactly. At the very beginning, that he would just be completely lame and have absolutely no mental capacity at all.
Or it would be funnier if the Seraphim Buggy was like super badass.
Oh, yeah, that
and
would be-
way more powerful than the real Buggy.
That was the other thing about Long Ring Island art that I liked is that is Foxy's power should be like in anybody else's hands would be just like incredibly overpowered, but it's just he's just using it to cheat. A
He's too stupid.
game. He's giving himself another cheating advantage in a game he's already cheating at.
Wapple a little bit is like that too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that's
Of course,
a
he
good.
made it
yeah.
work for him. Yeah.
He did. Yeah. What's next, Alex?
Horrors Tuvwixes, aka Slay, says, "Hey there, Delilah. In 1111, we saw Robinosuke walking through Egghead saying sorry to Joy Boy, but woke up 2 minutes prior. Was thinking this over and over in their head like was it thinking this over and over in their head like a broken record? Has it forgotten how to speak? All interesting questions for something that clearly means nothing. Sorry for waffling. I had to make sure my broadcast lasted long enough before my true message was ready. Some say Yamato was given some money by Kinemon. So what would Kinemon get Yamato to pay that he would be too embarrassed to pay for himself?"
That's a good question.
Oh boy.
Was it fireworks and prophylactics? What was the?
Erotic scrolls.
One of these enemas.
Yeah, I know that's it. Yeah, I was trying to remember.
I don't know what you have planned for this weekend, Kinemon.
Count me out. Yeah.
Count me. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Imagine
interesting.
Kinemon with that.
Yeah, I guess well, my wife's back in the picture, so you gotta get all this stuff for me.
The
so,
Kinemon was a little gross too, wasn't he? I thought.
Yeah, he was.
originally. Yeah.
I think
I mean, he spoke out of his butt, so.
this is like a sitcom premise. Like, my wife can't know that I read pornography. I need you to go get me some pornography, and if you get caught, say it's yours. Like it's
Yes, sir.
Or maybe Yamato's just been like sleeping on the couch at Kinemon's place, and he's like, "All right, I got to get you out of here."
Buy me a pack of gum,
Yeah.
but make it the best
Congrats.
pack of gum you've ever seen. I don't know. What's next?
42 NLs on the Moon says, "Hey, OPP. Looks like the 5 elders found the broadcast snail, so we won't be finding out the secret this time. Unless, do you think it's as simple as that, or is Marcus Mars going to spare the snail? Or was this whole timer a distraction while another plan unfolds in the background? Eager to hear your theories and predictions.
We did opine on this.
We
A
did.
fair amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simply hit back 15 several dozen times. I hear it right now.
It's very much like Oda to have the elders at the peak of their control, and they're at the top, they're winning, and all of a sudden something's going to come and upend all of that. We don't know what that is yet.
Oda likes doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a giant robot.
Giant.
Usually
roboto. Sheepman says, "Howdy, OPP. How long will it be until pop-up Vega coffee shops appear in Japan and then all over the world? There'd be suckers for coffee, drinking up all the coffee and merch that would be put out. It's me. I'm the sucker for coffee and merch. Anyways, with the way it's explained how exactly the crew plans to take off of Egghead, I'm thinking the dome will close, and those still inside will be stuck, thus keeping the elders away for a while with them all there so they can't do the pentagram summoning, and that presents the story for Emu to begin to show themselves more. Maybe if Stussy destroys the control room, they'd all be stuck there."
If all the 5 elders were out of the picture, how would the government progress from there? Too is an interesting question.
Well, everything would just be higgledy-piggledy.
I am wondering, if this is going to be like a reckoning for them, the 5 of them, but I don't know
Maybe.
how.
There's really only one person who could do that at this point.
Katarina Devon.
Oh, I was thinking Emu. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, I mean, I think that there's a potential that what happens here is Emo decides that none of this is worth it and just does the beam and just obliterates
I could see
the
that,
entire
too.
island.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that
probably.
they introduced that when they did makes it possible, I think. But also, they have the Mother Flame like blueprints or something there in one of the factories there, and that's
Oh yeah.
he really likes that. He really likes being able to just randomly destroy places. So I don't think he's gonna blow up that place that gives him that possibility.
Oh right. It's because it's nukes, right? That's the Mother Flame is sort of our metaphor. The same way that we have lineage traits or DNA, like the Mother Flame, like our nuclear power.
I think so. It might be a little more sci-fi than that, but yeah. But analogous, yeah. Alex.
Speaking of nuclear power, you leave Mr. Burns out of this, says, "How come you guys don't like Senor Pink? He's the Bon Clay of the Dressrosa arc." And
No, he's not.
and then there's a reaction here from Joe. It just says no in big bold letters.
Thank you to our Discord mod Joe, who is correct.
Let's be fair. The adult baby man is. I wouldn't compare the adult baby man to Bon Clay.
And I think it's just, if you say that a character in Dressrosa is the equivalent of a character in Alabasta, it's just going to make me still think that Alabasta is 100 times better than Dressrosa.
Because it is.
I really like Dressrosa myself, but I really like a big, gross mob boss with his nasty crew. Like I like how,
Tracks.
and I do like I do like Mr. Pink. I think he's a. I think it's funny to be like, I bet you. Oh yeah. You think it's gross that I dress like a big weird baby? What if I told you it was to cheer up my tragically
Yeah,
sad
but
life?
it was his fault that
It was-
all
yeah.
tragically
It's-
sad
it's
in the
so-
first place.
But it's
Self-inflicted
also-
here.
Oh yeah, for
It's
100%,
very
just-
stupid.
It's very stupid. That's why I love it. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I get that.
It's a storyline from Yakuza, basically.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
thinking on it, it's very similar to how weird and melodramatic.
You're giving me all very good reasons for things that are very much not my opinion today, Cohen. That's what you're doing.
Let's be perfectly fair. I think we're pretty divided as a podcast on Senior Pink, right?
No,
There are definitely people who like Senior Pink a lot.
on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
On this podcast?
Brian is
Brian-
crazy
Brian-
about.
Brian-
Oh yeah, Brian is, but Brian has opposite opinions of us on a lot of things. I feel like.
Well, that's
Anyway,
what makes
you're
us
allowed.
great.
Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion.
I bet Sam likes him. He likes all the guys who suck too. So.
Oh, guys who suck are great. I like that nasty pasta guy. The Sanji fights.
Monze, yeah, there you go.
I'm leaving.
Do you like Caribou?
Remind me.
The mud
Swamp
guy,
Man.
swamp
Swamp
guy.
Thing.
Caribou is
Lucius.
incredibly funny. Yes, the
about
part
Caesar
the
Clown?
part where he's like rubbing his hands together, and Frankie is like leaning into the frame.
That
and
is
then
a
it's
really
just in
good,
the
yeah.
next.
That
person
is
naming
very
him. I was like,
good.
this guy seemed like he was going to cause some problems, so I solved it. Caesar is also very funny. For
Caesar
the
is
reason
funny.
that like he's just is constantly he's getting punched. He's Hitler getting punched in the face by Captain
Yeah,
America.
that's true.
He
That's
is-
true.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who is, I think he's literally on Whole Cake Island to make it less of a, like, God, I hope, it's like, no, look, here's a guy who sucks getting beat up.
Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry. Things are going to happen.
No, we should add that to our line of questioning. KC, who's your favorite guy who sucks?
That's a good question. We should add that.
Mud Boy. That Mud Boy. That we
Caribou,
talked about.
yeah.
Caribou.
Yeah, he sucks, and like the fact that he's still like, I wouldn't call him a problem, but an issue with the gang for a while. Like he's just always there. It's just like, oh, this guy stinks. Hasn't he died yet?
Now, he's the Blackbeard's problem now.
Yeah, it's true.
He's funny. He's funny to get mad at every time I remember he's still like
Yeah.
alive or a
that-
problem or
that-
whatever. It's just like, what the shit is this guy?
It's
What
trolling.
you just said, Casey, that guy sucks. Has he died yet? That sounds like dialogue that Nami would have said recently
Yeah.
on the Egghead.
Oh yeah.
I think she said
Oh,
that
he
about
died.
Caesar Clown a few times.
She's,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
And just in the recent anime episode,
Yeah,
the
this week.
most recent anime episode,
And it's-
it got brought up.
it's such a great character thing for Nami, who is
Mm.
no matter what, she's always greedy, selfish, stealing, except when it comes to kids. Like
Yeah.
the second it's about kids, it's like the switch is completely flipped for her, and that's good.
Yeah, Nami would not steal candy from a baby.
But anyone else?
Yeah.
What's next?
Sailor Karna is universal, says, "Hey OPP, I'm so close to getting another friend on the crew. My supervisor is a Naruto fan, and we usually talk about it, but last week he saw the Luffy versus Lucci fight, and he's considering taking a look at One Piece, which is a step up from not watching at all. I'll report back if my mission is a success."
I was going to ask which Luffy versus Lucci fight, but I
Probably
think
the
that's-
latest one.
The
since
latest one, I think, is
all over
pretty
the
obvious.
I like how you like. You know what? Because I'll consider taking a look at One Piece. I think it's just a fun thing to say about a
It is,
1,000
Yeah.
chapter
100.
series.
Yeah.
I'll consider taking a look after seeing this. This
Does
wonderful
it always
animation.
look like that? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it always looks like that.
Wow, 1,000 episodes look like that. Sign me up.
It looked like that in 1997 or 99. Alex,
Yeah, keep watching, you jerkos.
next?
And reverse. This is the last. This piece. Reverse Icelandic piss shark says, "OPP. I hope I'm not too late. My phone was hidden up in a room to avoid old people birds. Now that the giants have fed Luffy one of the grossest foods imaginable, what is there he won't eat? He hates that cherry pie, but he ate it. He ate poisoned stonefish. He even sort of ate a tree to play baseball."
who amongst us wouldn't though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He doesn't-
that-
he doesn't
Anything to
waste
play
food.
baseball.
anything to play a game of baseball. You know, all of us big baseball players.
I wish I had like super hot takes about the food at a particular ballpark, because I'd be like, "Oh, well, I even eat the food at Camden Yards." Like, I don't know.
Ooh,
He won't eat food that is stolen from somebody who needs it.
Arby's.
Yeah.
Is that still a
Yeah.
thing we make fun of?
So hungry you can eat Arby's.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake sucks.
Yeah, we were talking about that because you mixed it up with
Okay.
Shake Shack, which does not suck.
Yeah, the Steak and Shake that's near my parents' house got turned into a dispensary, which I think is for the better. Anyway, that's it for Disc Piece.
In lieu of other piece together, I forgot we have to talk with KC about the big theories that you have about the end of the series.
I have a couple of theories overall about where I think A, it's going to end up, the story's going to end up, and B, what it is that Edward Teach, Blackbeard, can do to get other devil fruit powers. They're just simple things I thought of, and it was like, hey, you know what? I kind of understand Oda as I read this. I don't know his fucking head. I don't know what he's thinking, but I understand how he works in a way that I'm like, sure, I could think that. The first one is, I think they're going to the moon. I don't know if you guys have brought this up
a lot.
About
Yeah.
it. Oh, okay.
Oh,
See?
all of last week's show. Really,
You're after my heart, Casey. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like maybe a year ago or something, as we were reading, and then all this stuff with the Seraphim, and all that thing. I was just like, yeah, they're going to the moon. The moon's like always like an underrated, like final destination that you just never think about because it's the moon. It's always there. And we're going to see Inaru again.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. So they're going to the moon. I'm glad we're all on the same page about that.
Absolutely.
Now, the devil fruit thing is a bit of a stretch, but I think but the fact that they hid it, like, you know, even the characters in the thing hid it from like society or from everybody's watching eyes and shit like that. I think he gets that. It's a really dangerous thing to do. It's a really disgusting thing to do. He eats the heart of the other devil fruit user because the fruit itself is kind of big. And
I think we talked about this
shaped
recently
like a
too,
heart.
like for the first time.
Well, last week, yeah.
Was that at the
live
show
Yeah.
last week? Yeah, we were talking
Yeah.
about like big theories last week, and
That's
that
a
came
real-
up.
Like, I had never thought
That's
about
weird.
the heart
Yeah.
aspect of it, and that's I love that that's come up, and
that's a pretty gross and weird thing to like sort of bring to the last bad guy of the whole series. Teach, you know, especially doing it to Whitebeard.
I mean,
you know,
Big
when
Mom
there's a
ate a bunch
guy
of
like that.
children, so
Yeah. And you
That's
said the thing,
ridiculous.
Casey, about like now that we know devil fruits are dreams, and it's like dreams live in the heart. You're eating, and yeah,
it's both beautiful and gross.
Yeah, it's metaphoric. It's also just look at like a heart to like some devil fruit you've seen, like the same relative size. I could see Oda being like, yeah, and then writing that in as a thing. And like if it is, I'd like give me the check, give me the big blank check.
it's the cool. It's the perfect kind of like late stage power upgrade to do because it's a thing that the heroes can't do.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
a way to move.
Luffy would never do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Good
That's
guys-
a really
good
like
guys
Luffy
never
would
do it,
never
yeah.
eat a heart.
Yeah.
Not from a human being, no. Chopper, if and under emergency circumstances, maybe.
Do you think Luffy would? He has tried to eat Chopper before.
Yeah, he
I
definitely.
don't think
has tried.
anymore.
I think that's
Not
an old
anymore,
gag.
but when
Yeah.
Chopper was new, he made jokes.
It's like,
about
What
it.
if
It hit
Chopper
me as
went
soon as I
monster
said it.
form and had to give him his leg so that he would have enough energy to eat it? What if he did the Red Leg Zeph maneuver? What if Chopper did
Chopper
that?
would do that. Chopper would
do it.
definitely do that. And
Chopper's
Luffy
a-
would
a-
take him up
an
on
American hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be a sign of respect. It would be the same way he eats He eats like other animals.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
he's got that whole
it. The hunter
wild
thing
man.
where
he's like
the-
respect for the prey type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, Luffy
Those
has a
are
little-
my two. So those are my two theories. I'm not one to look at the Reddit.
Nor should you.
Thank you for inviting me, and I haven't. Thank you for inviting me, but I haven't really been listening to a lot of other media about One Piece beyond me, Cohen, and our friends talking about it every week on our Discord call. So that was just, I was just like, okay, I think he could do that. So it's nice. It's nice to know. It's nice to know that y'all professionals agree.
professional.
And it's both of these tripped me out in case because I don't. One of the ways I've maintained my enjoyment of the series this long time is by not looking at what strangers have to say about it on Reddit. Like that's just because, for one,
Reddit,
I can't
Facebook,
stand the
anywhere.
55th Sanji or Zoro who would win conversations. Just like shut the fuck up.
They'll just kiss. I mean,
They'll-
that's how
they
that
would
would
they.
end.
How have you not gotten yet that they have the utmost respect for each other?
Romance.
They're Dory and Brogy. They're like it's right there. They're all right. They're the guys. They fight
Yeah.
forever. That's their friendship.
Yeah.
He's Sanji's the only guy who could get Zoro to wake up when by like
Right.
disrespecting him. It's just wow, perfect.
No, it is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. I mean, when I was on the other side of when I was listening to podcasts, I sometimes felt like I was getting spoiled by people's theories, even whether or not they came true. But those two are, I think, the Moon one has been one I have been a big proponent of, and I've been the Pepe Sylvia guy on that for a long time.
I feel pretty sure about the Moon one. I'd put money down on the Moon
I
one.
hope
the heart
so.
thing
You got the
would
red
be a
thing.
long.
You got the O'Hara Observatory over here. You got the. You got the
Do you want me to
Just as I was
send
gonna
you the
make,
presentation from last week that
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
I'll do it right
check.
now.
Just as I was going to make a joke about it, I'm like, I'm starting to feel like theory crafting is just like, this is like what betting is for sports.
Oh, it is.
He just said, like, I'm going to put
Yeah.
money on it. And I'm like, oh,
Go to,
okay.
Oh, man,
is it
if we get
sponsored
that-
by DraftKings yet? Yeah.
So I think we're going to move to the end. We also have some trivia from our friend of the show, Ben Wild, who gives us money if we get the right answer. So
I thought
if
he gave money to charity for us or something like that.
Oh.
Was
no,
that,
he puts it into our PayPal or Patreon.
Oh,
or
okay.
something.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
what he's
better.
been
Way
doing.
better. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, charity, charity. Who are we?
Yeah. Hey,
Charity?
hey,
No.
kids, maybe try reading some One Piece if you want to make some money.
Bar trivia is all over the place, man.
So we'll be doing that at the end, and I guess we'll see what happens. Okay, let's round off the show. This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 814 for April 22nd. Thank you all for coming on the show. Really fun one. I hope we could have the Skulltenders folks on again.
Anytime.
Yeah. And
Whenever
maybe
my
Amber,
theories come true, bring me on.
you could get Amber to read the manga too. It's only 11
Oh.
chapters.
Yeah. No, she'll burn through it. Yeah, it's been an absolute joy. Thank you so much. This has been so fun. It's always fun to talk to some straw hat heads. Like you said, if you want to get D&D podcast, Skulltenders, comes out every couple of weeks, and we got Amber, we got Jess O'Brien, who you may know from Giant Bomb back in the day. She's also our audio editor. She's great. She plays a goo creature who is our version of a devil. So it's very, very heavily. When we were starting it off, when I was planning out the whole long story, reread One Piece because I was looking at it, it's like nobody does long form combat driven narratives better. You study at the feet of the masters when you're gonna make some. Anyway,
I'm actually shocked there's no one named DooDoo in One Piece. That shocks me.
Yet.
Yet.
There was plenty of that in the 4Kids.
But there is a goo person, and that's Treble.
yeah.
I love saying
And
doo-doo.
he's
Yeah.
Snot Man. He's actually a Snot Man.
There's a couple of
Slimer.
good people.
and Amber plays a tabaxi, or as we call him, Catalian. That's this cat lady. She's got a cool sword that talks. We've got all the good stuff. You want to talk
Right.
about weapons? We got all.
That's
the
also One Piece-ish.
heavy influence.
Cohen, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me at Skull Mandible. Just together is all kinds of most places. Skulltenders is my main thing right these days. But if you want to just follow me, it's at Skull Mandible on Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever else is left in this bleak and blistered landscape of social media. There's a Cohen Edenfield right there.
Yeah.
.com even.
I'm just waiting to see the old centaur politician walking by, a skeleton centaur politician. KC, where can people find you?
You can also find me playing DooDoo the Owl at skulltenders.com or patreon.com/skulltenders. And I still sort of do comics here and there in some kind of capacity. So you can follow me at kcgreen.com. You have to spell out .com first. And I'm on most of the socials at KC Green with 2 N's at the end, because always one N is always taken. Blue Sky, I'm on there as KCG, but I don't know if anyone actually uses Blue Sky anymore. Well, people do, but I don't know if the world at large, your listeners at large, actually use it. Blue Sky is still kind of a drop in the bucket of Threads, Instagram, etc. But I'm KC Green with 2 N's on Instagram and elsewhere. And that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Casey. Steven, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Blue Sky at stephenpaul.bsky.social. I can never remember what the default is there, but yeah, I am active there. I have been doing my 3 chapter a day. As reminded of this by you guys talking about your catch up over the pandemic there. I've been doing my 3 chapter a day One Piece read through and dropping occasional thoughts there on the Blue Sky. So if you follow me, you can check some of those out. And other than that, just keep reading One Piece, Akane Banashi, and Showa Shoten, all fun series that I work on for Viz on their apps. Yeah.
Akane Banashi, I just want to say real quick.
Amazing.
Big fan. You're doing extremely
you.
good work. Translating
Thank you.
something. Oh my God, I cannot. Reading it, I'm like, I cannot believe I'm actually getting to read a professional translation of this, and this is not something that it's so good. It's so good. It's really nailing it.
Yeah, it's when you have good material, it's all worth it. It's a fantastic series.
It's one of those series though that's hard week to week. It's very good marathon, like amazing marathon. It's still very good week to week, but it's tougher because
it's a battle manga though.
It is a battle manga, but I like the not to spoil. I'm not spoiling any. One guy is just like it's just Rakugo. I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't a battle for. It's just some people having fun. Steve, where could people find you?
SteveYurko.com, at Steve Yurko on most of the socials. Once again, check out 4Kids Flashback every week. Also check out ProZD Plays Games over on YouTube every day. We're just putting new Let's Play videos out every single day.
We were talking about you guys before the show and how great you were. And something positive. No, we were. Alex, now it sounds like I'm lying. Alex.
Find me online. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Twitter. At dude ! All one word. Also follow Weeb Simpsons, please, if you haven't already. Both of those.
And Ed, where could the good people find us?
That's it.
Well, you are Zach Logan, or Zach.One Piece Podcast on Blue Sky. I'm Edward E. on Blue Sky. Podcast can be found at the new and improved OnePiecePodcast.com. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. Check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/OnePiecePodcast. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts.
That phone number is
Call us on our phone
347-497 Maji. I am checking again. Number
Maji.
again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime with your questions, comments, theories, or for a reminder
Anytime.
that you're a sandworm when you're hungry. Have a building. So, for those who listen to all our plugs, let's do some trivia. This comes from Ben Wild. I don't know the answers to these. I haven't looked at these. This is my first time reading this. He says, hello, podcast. Hope you have all the hardcore big brains on this week. So, everyone here has a big brain, right? Also, the chapter, I assume, had a big brain in it. It's that time of year again, trivia time. You chose, you're lucky this happens once a year. This person sends in questions. You chose to have 10 questions asked. Rules, as always, $20 for every right answer. Final answers from me, Zach. Good luck. So we'll talking. Anyway, first question. How many doctors did Wapol keep with him after fleeing Drum Kingdom?
20? Sure.
Yeah,
20?
wasn't it the 20?
It's the 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 20.
Oh, after
The
Everyone
20
good?
doctors, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Ishii
20.
20.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did we
We
did
picked the easy ones.
Did we pick the?
because
We picked
we're
10,
not dumb.
10 easy ones over
versus
Oh,
5
okay.
hard
five
ones.
hard ones.
Yeah. 2. What phrase was we're going with that, by the way, 20. Number 2. What phrase was written on the side of the Baradier's supply boat?
I
I don't even remember
Spybo
this
was,
one.
It was Find Panda Man, because that was like he drew him in the pile of stuff on the boat. He talked about it in the SBS after that chapter.
Oh. no memory of that. I have zero memory of that.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember the pile. I didn't remember.
That's
I didn't
fun.
remember
I
that.
like
But
that.
yeah, that's like one of the first like Pandamans, right? Like the first like explicit acknowledgement. Yes, I did it. Here it is.
Yeah, he right. We see him in the dining chamber first, but then that was after they were loading up the little dinghy there.
So we'll go with what Steven said. Number 3, identification given to the drug Caesar Clown used in the children's candy on Punk Hazard. Now, I think this is him trying to get back to me at a trivia question I asked Steve that was super hyper specific or something. Wasn't like KX.
But why do I still have to suffer for it?
You always have to suffer, Steve. That's the podcast promise.
It's something
Yeah,
really
it's
effective,
Don
like
Creek.
That's Don
M-
Creek.
Oh, you're right.
right? Like it's a weird.
I thought it was KX.
No,
something,
I know
if
it's
that's
Don
what
Creek's
I'm
thing,
thinking
but it's something
of.
to that effect.
Is
He
that-
had the KX launcher.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it CC something? Did he name after himself?
I mean, he would.
Oh,
The Caesar Clown's miracle poison drug.
I mean, he called it candy, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's like taking
it
candy. It's
was
like
the
giving candy
right?
to a child.
yeah.
Identification
so
given
the
to the
question is,
drug
like, what did he
Caesar
call
Clown
it, or
used
what
in
did-
the children's candy on Punk Hazard. Do they mean just like a gigantification drug? Is that what? I'm
In
not
the
quite
candy.
sure.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like a 3-letter thing and
This is a
number.
hard question.
Yeah, this is a hard one.
pretty hard.
I thought we were
Man,
going
call-
easy, Benjamin Wild.
Well, I guess this
Kate-
is in the
yeah,
manga.
Kate's-
You
I
could
don't
look
have.
it up.
I don't have those urges to check.
That's not in the spirit of the game.
No,
That's not
no,
the spirit of
no.
the game, Alex. That's called cheating. We don't do that here.
That's peanuts.
KCX
Oh, right.
1800 will do because it has Casey's name in it. That
Peanuts.
might work.
Yeah. Why not?
Poisoning children with that, probably not great. Anyway, next question. Sanji makes a bento box for pudding in the Whole Cake Island arc. Name 4 things that were in that box.
Oh my God.
Hamburger, meat on a bone,
Meat on a bone.
sandwiches, tangerines.
Yeah, tangerines for
That's
Nami.
already 4.
Tangerines.
I'll take those 4 from Steve, but
We only
if you
need to
wanna-
name 3.
Yeah,
I think.
4. We only need to name 4. There
4?
were did you do the meat on the stick from Luffy? I
Yeah.
forget if you did that. Okay. I'm deferring to Steve's answer.
And say onigiri just to be safe.
Always a little onigiri. But yeah, we'll go with the 4 that Steve said there, unless there's any objection. Number 5, there are 2 things unique to volumes 1 and 18. I assume they mean the cover, but I'm not sure. What are they?
We have
the
to be
hell
able to
is
look at
18?
them for this one, right?
No, I can figure out what 18 is.
18.
Yeah,
18
so that's
is,
the one
is
with
the
like
last
Wapol
one in
and
drum, right? That's the last drum.
and,
Luffy's there,
Chess
but
and Kurimarimo on it.
is that
No,
18?
Or is that
That's
the
17.
one with Ace
That's
on it?
17.
It's the
I
one
think
with Ace on
18.
it is
18
Oh, it's
is
the one
with
split
Ace
into
on it.
like 3 things, and it's them in the
Ace-
desert, and Ace is at
Yeah.
front and center. What's one is just the regular.
okay.
Why wouldn't 1 and 61 be the same? Maybe it's not related to the cover.
Is it? Yeah, one's just the romance dawn, right? It's
Yeah.
Luffy.
I know
Sanji, and
18
Nami
is
in the
thick.
boat.
18's really thick. I know. Maybe it's that they have an extra chapter in it, but the recent
I would
ones have
say
had.
that.
unique.
No. Oh, okay.
Maybe Tomato Gang.
Now
shows
that would
up
be a
in
hard
both
question
of
though.
those
If Tomato
volumes.
Gang is in it, no one knows Tomato Gang.
That's true.
This is vague. It's
This
hard
one's
to-
tough. We could come back to that. You want to come back to that? I don't even have like an idea. Bookmark it. Okay. We'll
Bookmark
go
it.
back to 5. Number 6. This villain
it.
was the first to be featured on a DVD cover. Steve, this is your department.
Which DVDs?
Yeah, that's you. Got to be specific there. I assume they
guessing
mean
Eng-
Voyages.
Oh crap!
If it's a Funimation
No.
DVDs,
No.
that's Kabaji, isn't it?
Is
No.
Kabaji really a villain?
The first
No?
villain on the Funimation sets was Arlong.
I
If
trust
we're
Steve.
if we're going with your standard Funimation releases of the series, like
Do we mean the collections or the Voyages? We're getting really.
Well, I mean, also Mihawk's eye is on
yeah,
the
Mihawk's
second.
eye.
Is
Isn't he
Mihawk
a
a
villain,
villain?
No.
What? No, wait, hold on. Why would Arlong
he's
be
on
on
the-
the
No,
first
it's not on the
volume?
first volume. It's the
The
first
third
one to be
DVD set.
featured on a DVD cover.
He's on
was
the
question.
he's in the fourth, or yeah.
If that's where we're going with, I don't
Oh,
know,
I
because
see.
I don't think you
I
would.
see.
I would do
Because I
Arlong, Steve. Like I think that makes sense.
And we're not talking about 4Kids DVDs.
You don't think Don Krieg before Arlong?
Don Creek was on the 4Kids ones. I know that.
I remember all these DVD covers vividly in my head without even having.
Steve has a
look over
weird
there.
gift, and this
No,
is-
no,
this
I
is the
completely
one.
defer.
Especially
I'm
first season
over
one,
here
yeah.
trying to figure it out just based on like logic, but that wouldn't.
No, logic never works.
Steve, yeah,
I think
Arlong is a good
I
one
wouldn't
because
call me
And this
a
is
villain
this
either.
is and this
call
is
Mihawk a
season
villain.
1, Voyage 3.
No.
Is what I'm referring to. So
Okay.
yes. It was just a straw hat
Yes.
in the first one.
I think it was yeah.
Sort of
Okay,
on volume
Sounds
two.
good.
number 7. We're going with that, Arlong. Number 7. There are 3 volume covers that, when placed in order, make one continuous image. What are the numbers of those volumes? Volume covers.
And
yeah,
101. Yep.
yeah.
99, 100.
The difficulties of these are all over the fucking place.
They're all over the place.
These are very specific to like physical media covers. Yeah,
I think
just
this
like a lot of
person
the-
was probably just looking on his shelf for
Yeah,
the,
no, it's a good-
which is what
I
I do.
respect
To
it.
be fair, that's what I do too.
very biased to people that maybe just purchase things digitally.
Oh, there's all my One Piece. It's one down. There they are.
Oh, there
I was
they
like, where
are.
are they? Okay, just to
They're-
show my bona fides.
You hid them from us.
Yeah, and I got I got a buddy from the I think these were from Tom or from John from our Mega
the-
Squad.
Oh, the compendiums, color walk.
the compendiums.
Mm.
Those are my
Real
favorite.
pretty.
I love those. Yeah.
Amazing.
Next one, E. What is the name of the lightning bird that befriends Nami in Strong World? I know this is Billy, right?
Billy, yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
I knew an answer.
What's
Yeah.
Billy?
Beady beady.
Because he goes beady beady.
Yeah.
He
Nine.
says beady beady beady.
Which actor voiced the narrator in the live action One Piece? Come on.
That's Ian McShane.
That's Ian
Yeah.
McShane, yeah.
Who is going right? Oh, that's my theory.
This
Ian McShane
is.
is going to be Silver's Raleigh.
That
I
would
think
be.
they
Oh.
are. I think they are future proofing
That's-
his casting,
that's
so
good.
he's going to be the.
I did see an
That's
interview
good, that's very
saying, first of all, very good choice. Second of all, I know he ended up doing it because I think his grandkid was very into One Piece and told him about it, which I think was the case with a lot of people,
Yeah.
the older people who were in that,
Oh yeah.
and who are going to be in it probably.
But wouldn't he be so perfect, right? Yeah, but so
Well,
is
they better
Silver's,
get to him soon.
right,
Ian
like, that's
McShane's
like-
How
good
old?
shit.
He's 78, I think. Silver's.
that's true.
How old is Ian McShane?
Wow.
Anyway,
old.
we'll
Just
find that's
perfect.
not. That isn't one of the questions.
Well,
The
Denver
last
was 20
question
years ago.
is chapter 233 introduces us to 7 major characters, 2 named and 5 unnamed at the time. Who are these 7 people? I assume they're talking about the Elder, or is it
Dial it
Two-
back. What-
233?
Yeah, repeat it.
That's
Chapter
the-
233 introduces us to 7 major characters, 2 unnamed and 5. I'm sorry, 2 named and
Yes.
5 unnamed at the time. Who are these 7 quote unquote people?
That would be
233.
That's not
Yeah.
the Warlords, is it? That's
Yes,
like
it-
that's a
it
record.
is-
It is okay.
It
yeah.
is Doflamingo, Kuma. I mean,
Right.
it is. Yeah, it starts. Yeah, they're already there before what's his name shows up Lafitte. So yeah,
But
No,
they're
but the
named,
5
though.
elders are yeah.
No,
Yes.
but they name them at the end.
Wait,
of the
Oh,
other chapter.
oh,
whoa,
the
whoa,
two
whoa,
the
whoa.
2 named
Bartholomew,
ones then wouldn't they be
Kuma,
Doflamingo and Kuma, and the 5 unnamed
Yeah.
ones be the 5 elders?
they're the
stars?
5 elders. Yeah,
They're the
Yeah.
only because
No,
they're the only
'cause you
ones
know-
who show up to the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the way the manga chapter goes is Doflamingo and Kuma are walking up to
Right.
Marijoa, but they don't have their Oda. That's the end of the chapter.
Oh,
The
you're right,
following
you're right,
chapter
the end
you're
of the
right.
chapter.
Is when they get their little boxes with their names in it. So maybe it's them then.
I remember this because of the really bad scanlated version that called it. What was it? That's
Isarumi
it.
Bear and Tanji Hado Lolu.
Find that
Flamingo.
one. It's amazing. It's really bad. Yeah.
It's fucking terrible. These MSN scans.
I'm saying
Like, if you
I
think
lived. I was
scanlations
in
are
the
bad
trenches.
now.
I was
were
like, I was
there.
Manga Fox, just like slowly, or like that water, like
Manga
that like
Fox
image
was later,
degradation.
if I felt like.
Yeah. That's true, but just the image degradation of just like
Yeah.
multiple stamps, like where they've cut out somebody else's watermark and replaced it.
Oh
just-
my god.
That's how I initially read Alabasta.
So I read
because
Skypiea.
there was no English
rough.
version of it.
So what's our final answer then? Or maybe it's Suru and because
That's what I was wondering.
But that's the
Suru
next
and
chapter, and
and
they're
Sengoku.
Sengoku.
Suru and Sengoku are
But they're
named in the
names.
next one.
They
Yeah,
are
those are the
names.
two named ones. It was two
Are you
named
sure
and
that's the
5
next
unnamed.
chapter?
So the next chapter, which might be 233, I don't remember.
Can I hear the
number.
question again? I'm so
Okay.
No.
confused.
It is
No,
a
no, no,
confusingly
no.
worded one.
No, 'cause
Let me
what-
read it again, and then
Yeah.
okay. Chapter 233 introduces us to 7 major characters, 2 named, 5 unnamed at the time. Who are these 7 quote unquote people? That
I'm
the
pretty
quotes
sure
are
that's-
confusing me
Yeah,
too.
that's because they're talking
You
about
see the
elders.
elders talking about Luffy,
Right.
and then it goes to the meeting at Marijoa. So I'm pretty sure it's the
But-
5 elders. And
But I know you
Suru
guys are
and
talking.
Sengoku.
No. You guys are talking about the scene where Doflamingo and Kuma waltz up, but they're talking about them as they are doing
Yes.
that. So their names are in the chapter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought all 7 characters weren't named, but yeah,
No.
I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly sure.
So I think it should be Doflamingo and Kuma.
Also, I would not consider Suru a major character.
Hey, what about her
Uh,
bad
Sengoku
boys?
is.
She
but
was
yeah.
never popular. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's got her
Okay,
good
what's our
history.
final answer here?
I'd say Doflamingo and Bartholomew and
Five-
then the 5 elders. Yeah.
Okay, we'll stick with that then. The last
Five.
question was the one we went back to.
Yeah.
Oh
The-
God.
the-
Fucking...
There are 2 things unique to the volumes 1 and 18. What are they? I think you're right. I think it is the Ace volume, right?
Yeah,
Ace
it's
arrives
Ace.
or something.
Yeah, I remember that because when we were shuffling around all the volumes last week.
Yeah,
all
me
the
too.
18s
That's the
had
reason it's
shiny
fresh in
shit
my
all
head.
over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like
Uh,
that's a good cover. I like that cover, but I don't think it's the cover because he references the cover in another one. There are 3 volume covers that, when placed in order, that one.
So wait, maybe they both have
Their prime number? No,
more,
18's not
more
a prime number.
chapters than the rest of them, right? Like,
No.
I know
No, you
18
sure?
is very thick, but 1 isn't. I mean, I could look into my camera accidentally, and yeah, I don't know. Do we have any guess? Because I want to spend another 20 minutes not knowing the answer.
I don't know.
Steven?
Doesn't 1 have less chapters because it
Yeah,
has a
1 would
really
have
long
fewer.
first chapter?
Right.
Because it has it's like
Oh
a
yeah,
super
because
long
it was
first one,
Romance
right?
Dawn. Oh, maybe the thing that's unique is it has the most and the least pages.
Yeah. Or most and least chapters, least and most chapters.
Oh, the most and least chapters. Yeah, that's
Ah.
my guess. I don't know if you do. We have any other guesses?
That's a good
guess to me,
good
yeah.
of a guess as
Yeah,
any.
because Romance Dawn is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, those are our answers. That'll do it for the One Piece podcast. We'll be back next week. Who do we have? Oh, we have the ADR director for the One Piece dub, Emily Fajardo, on, and we have our musician. Also does the throwaways a lot more, Kirsten Carey, on the show next week. So we'll see you then for our recap of chapter 1113. But until then, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
My name is Alex.
All right, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.